Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back to cover episode 9 of season 5 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology entitled The Trial of Jim Gordon. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace.
And explore Gotham.
Yes, that's right, Dragon. We're back once again. The last episode before a 2-week hiatus, unfortunately, but we're going to make the best of it. You know why, Dragon?
Why?
Because I really like this episode.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Genuinely, I don't know. This might be up there in my top 2 or 3 of the season, honestly.
Yeah, it was a good one. Also want to greet Winter Ives, who's joined us in the comments.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought stylistically it was, of course, it was directed by Aaron Richards. And let's give her some credit, man. Aaron Richards, I think for, the directorial effort she put into this episode was really on point, don't you think?
Yeah, Aaron Richards did a really good job with this episode. It's kind of a great power team going on with Aaron Richards directing and Ben McKenzie wrote this one. So it was a real triumph. It was really good.
That's so fitting given the themes of the episode.
It is. It's got a twist in a way. And I've been waiting for this one because, of course, in the No Man's Land book, one of the best parts of No Man's Land is when Jim Gordon is put on trial. Now, of course, it doesn't go verbatim like that because, for starters, Two-Face was the one putting him on trial. And obviously, we've done radically different things with Two-Face and Gotham, so...
Oh my god, could you imagine?
However, there was an opportunity...
Cameos, Dragon. The cameo... And the cool thing would be, he would just be... It would be the same actor, but he'd just randomly be Two-Face, just with no explanation.
Well, no, he'd be in shadow like he was before, only now be a much cooler version of that.
You made me this way, Jim.
All right. No, he went for a swim, but he only got halfway in, and that's the creation of Two-Face in season 5. All right. No, in all seriousness, but yeah, this one was really well executed. And of course, again, so the trial of Jim Gordon was always like one of the great parts of No Man's Land, and it was kind of great to see it realized in a different way than I had no idea how the direction this episode was going, and I was just really pleasantly surprised by it when it happened, because I had you and I, we kind of had a theory of like an Ivy episode, which we knew this one was going to be. Ivy being in the episode, we're going to do some cool kind of Destiny stuff like we did last time with her and Bruce, and we kind of did a little bit.
Dragon, isn't Ivy just the best?
Yeah, she sure is. That Ivy.
That's the thing. That's the real reason why we love this episode, is because if we didn't love this episode, Ivy would be so mad.
Yeah, she'd be super mad. We don't want to make Ivy mad. Ivy's great,
All right.
Like Vera Farmiga with red hair. That's how great Ivy is.
Oh, that was like the most used sentence you've ever spoken on this podcast. Just lustfully just going Vera Farmiga with red hair.
Okay, in all seriousness, again, so let's... Okay.
Okay, so,
Oh, here's some fun stuff. I'm going to save this for later. Here's something special we have at the start of our live comments. I'm going to save this for later. I'm going to put it in my pocket, and we're going to pull that out a little bit later on.
All right.
So, let's just kick it off. Let's dive right into it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so we start the episode with a really great tracking shot of the GCPD, and we're just kind of pulling to the GCPD, gearing up and getting ready to go out in the midst of Jim and Lee having a little heated conversation where, in
Dragon,
essence,
you know what it is? You know what it is?
What is it?
It's a Sorkin hallway.
You
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know. So Jim's trying, basically, to summarize it a little bit here, Jim's trying to get a ceasefire going on with the gangs of No Man's Land. He's trying to get a ceasefire going because right now, especially after Jeremiah especially after Jeremiah, he kind of poisoned the. Especially after Jeremiah poisoned the river, he. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
All
Okay,
right,
so
all right. Sorry.
anyway, so Jeremiah, after he's poisoned, Gotham's river, essentially now their current water supply, any water that they've had that has been kind of decontaminated, it's been kind of the filtration system they have going on now. They've had to kind of turn the whole water treatment plant into like a mass kind of water filtration thing. Because again, we set up earlier in the season, Bruce Wayne had like a little water filtration thing he got from Wayne Enterprises. So now, while they're working on a solution for the poisoned river, thanks to Jeremiah, their water is now a major commodity in No Man's Land. Hence the charm of No Man's Land. The most mundane of things now has great market value, and of course, uh, without water, a lot of people they're gonna go crazy and of course become dehydrated and so on and so forth. Therefore, we have to get a ceasefire going on so we can kind of wait until everybody's stocked up and this water crisis is over before we resume kind of no man's landian shenanigans. That's what Jim's trying to negotiate for, which Lee points out is really risky and reckless. We have water right now. We have a water filtration system. At least that'll do the job for the time being, and we have enough to last us for a few months. Like, don't go out there lone man. Again, if you die, Gotham's screwed. That's the thing we've had set up ever since like episode 2. If Jim goes out there alone, especially he's had bounties on his heads and everything. So again, Jim goes out there and he's a goner, and Gotham goes belly up.
All right, so Dragon, what do you think about this? Like, this is the trial of Jim Gordon, after all. Do you think that literally getting all of Gotham's criminals into one location and being like, "Hey guys, peace," was a good idea?
Well, given how the scene goes, I mean, he was winning him over, and things were going his way. So
That's
I
true.
mean,
That's true. I do like that. It's kind of like we were like inches away from like the most motivational Jim Gordon moment we've ever gotten on the show.
it was going his way. Again, the water is kind of a very unanimous kind of commodity, especially kind of post the water. Again, the big event of the water being poisoned, which is yet another reason that relief has been denied to Gotham because the government's refusing to get involved so long as Gotham's kind of an active zone. And Jim makes some good points there. So I think he had a shot. I think his logic was sound, but even if it wasn't, I love how Penguin kind of calls it out later in the episode, just saying that was his plan. Seriously, I think it's kind of.
I have in my notes right at the start, in the previous Leon. I love that we call back the Ivy being a witch gag. It's like we have, just a quick shot of Ivy Pepper. She's a witch.
Yep, she's a planty witch.
We're randomly 18th century pilgrims.
We're the villagers. Ah! Pilgrims for the win. Yeah, it's Pilgrim Thursday. Yeah, it is. Anyway.
Oh,
so,
God.
all right, anyway.
Used by that, anyways.
Okay, anyway, so Lee drops again. We have kind of our full circle episode stuff going on here, where Lee's kind of asking the big questions here. She's questioning why Jim is ready to sacrifice himself, and he'll never be satisfied until he's sacrificed himself for the greater cause. He's always throwing himself into these dangerous situations. He'll never be happy until he's dead, essentially. And that scares her. And again, this is something that's been kind of boiling ever since the beginning of the show. There's always been they were kind of the cute couple at the beginning of season 1, and you always wanted these two crazy kids to get together and stay together. And she was the very. I remember way back in season 1, Lee was like the uber understanding girlfriend. We loved it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, she's kind of
in contrast to Babs.
Absolutely, and I love that Lee she's making the point here that I've never been okay with this. You got to face facts here. Now you have responsibilities. Like you got to focus on one life being the child that's about to be brought into this world. That child's going to grow up with kind of a sitcom premise of meeting crazy Babs. I can't live in that world.
I love it. And Dragon, that's the thing. It's like I love how this show managed to make what you just said, like the sitcom premise of it all, into legitimately high drama. And like they're tongue in cheek about it, but they're so serious in their own way. And honestly, that's the Gotham charm for me. That's the Gotham charm right there.
There is a lot of, here's the thing, I think there's a lot of strategic, really good Gotham charm throughout this episode. Like last episode was kind of celebrating kind of the wonkier elements of Gotham. I think this episode celebrates all the genuinely really cool elements of Gotham.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well,
More of
still
that later.
in its own right, because one of the cool things about Gotham is the fact that it's wonky.
Sure, sure, but I mean, again, I think there's also like kind of, I think it was more of kind of like kind of a sincere kind of heart and soul type thing in this episode where he did have kind of like the fun, like, oh boy, it's a fun ride being on Gotham.
Hmm.
All right, so Jim makes the
You know
Jim.
what? I feel really quick. I feel like Aaron Richards is a really good person to represent that because she represents all the fun highs and lows that Gotham has to offer with Babs as a character.
That is very true.
I don't know, just some deep level thinking right there. You
It
know,
makes sense.
for my thought. Anyways.
All right, so Jim he makes kind of the empty promise that it won't always be this way. Once reunification happens, Lee then interjects with like, no, it's going to be the same after reunification. You're still going to have this problem because you had this problem, ever since the beginning of the show. Somewhat, you're always the sacrificial lamb. You're kind of the martyr of Gotham. That's not gonna do. It means that problem, reunification or not, you're still going to have that issue. So she's making some very valid points. Now, what I love on the whole with this episode, what we're kind of setting up here at the very start of things, it kind of gets seeded throughout the whole episode. I love the year one parallel we have going on here, where it's kind of we sort of have a year one parallel to both Bruce and Jim's mission. Where they both, it's kind of like in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of the Batman Gordon mission of like these are two guys individually who are trying to make a difference, and of course, once they come together, they make an actual difference. And we're kind of evaluating the two ways these two guys go about it, even in kind of the infancy within Gotham here, where the difference is if you really look at these two characters and what we're kind of getting at with Gotham here, and kind of the beginnings of these issues, these characters are going to suffer for the majorities of their existence. The difference between Gordon and Batman is that Gordon, he has a family, he has a legit family to kind of look out for, and lead to, and this leads to Jim asking the big questions this episode about, yeah, I am going to have a family, therefore there's more of a risk to when I go out there. Therefore, I got to be thinking more longevity. I got to minimize my risk. I can't just kind of fire from the hip like I have in the past. And again, like the age old question of the show that's really getting a fire lit under it wonderfully in this season, especially this episode, is we see why Gordon needs a Batman. We're making a natural story progression of why he needs a Batman, why he needs the help of Batman. So I think that's all really really neat.
And I mean, by extension, I feel like we're making some strides into like why Batman needs Gordon. And really quick, Dragon, I know we're gonna cover it later, but I just want to highlight like Sean Pertwee kicks ass this season, man.
Yeah, Sean Pertwee is delightful this season. This episode, this is one time I think he has the definitive moment that in this episode we'll get to. I think he has a moment in this episode that summarizes definitively the heart of what Gotham is as a show. It's a great performance. It's a wonderful scene. We'll get there. I think Sean Pertwee has his best scene in the season so far in this episode.
I think him and Donald Logue are both like really shining this season. It's the Alfred and Bullock season, man.
Yep, and of course, if you want to look in the grand scheme of things, Alfred and Bullock, they made kind of they were the Sunshine Boys way back in season one of Gotham. Remember they were paired together to find Bruce. So yeah, it's something they've kind of had in the works. Again, very reflective of season one, very full circle storytelling. And getting back to this though. So again, the broader implications of this scene, again connecting to what they're going for here, is that again, this is too much for one man in a literal sense. Where again, Gordon's going to go in there alone, and we're going to see that in essence, especially with kind of in a no man's land Gotham, with Mr. Hope goes down, then the city's going to go to chaos. So again, we can't put the idea of what we're striving for under one man. It needs to be two, if not more.
Like killing Mr. Rogers.
Pretty much like assassinating Mr. Rogers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
what if Mr. Rogers didn't just go peacefully in his sleep?
Sure, and I think the broader, getting back to the episode, I think the broader kind of question that's kind of being posed to Jim is like, it's kind of, I think the theme they're going for is it's a question. Lee's questioning Jim's service to Gotham versus service to his family. What is Jim fighting for? I think it's kind of what's being put in perspective for him in the episode, because again, he's kind of in the infancy of starting a family versus kind of like Gotham kind of becoming his family, or kind of becoming what he serves as a cop before he serves as a man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Jim's saying, okay, we'll talk after. And of course, she raised the question if there's an after. And putting in perspective, and of course, like a little barb she has to him as he's heading out. But of course, little does she know she's kind of doomed him. But I got to tell you, that is very true, Leslie Tompkins. I think this episode kind of gets her back to the core of who Leslie Tompkins is. It's kind of like this episode really kind of brings us back to who she is as a character. We thought she was going to be way back in season one, where she's the medic patching people up, kind of the age-old Batman's nursemaid, if you will. Like the one is like Batman can't go to a hospital, he goes to Leslie Tompkins, and we kind of do that here. We're constantly Leslie Tompkins says, "Well, I give you these prescriptions and I give you this medical treatment. I tell you to take it easy, but you never do that." So she's calling the patient out and like, "You never listen and you never give up this insane war on crime or this insane thing you're doing. But I'm just going to be there to patch you up. That's all I can do."
Yeah, it's like we've taken some weird to get there, but we're at, and that's what I really think is one of the big strengths of the episode. Really, is the fact that sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to move on to the next scene.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, let's see. So we cut from again Jim's going to a dangerous situation to the dangerous situation where we have a whole bunch of maniacs with chaos. It's basically chaos and chainsaws. That's the best way of putting it. So we have chaos and chainsaws at Penguin Citadel, where the Penguin is hosting this little sit down with the gangs of No Man's Land, which includes the likes of, if not more, includes the likes of the Soothsayers, Tiki's favorite gang in No Man's Land.
Yes.
The low boys, not the low boys.
Not the low boys.
The street demons and the Neon Schumacher gang.
Oh, God.
So the point is they're all kind of corralled in there. Some gang.
That in the episode. All right, Neon Schumachers.
Schumacher Brigade, Table of Neon. Anyway. So let's see. So also the idea is months have passed because we see Babs. We see Babs up there, and she's showing a little bit more, as she calls it. You're not the one with it looks like an egg timer. You're not the walking egg timer. So she's kind of showing this, and it's implied a few months have gone by, and they're still kind of clean. The clean up Gotham's water takes time. It does. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're kind of checking in a little bit. Enigma's building.
Dragon, speaking of that, let's put a pin in the conversation for because the timeline is kind of an important factor this episode.
Yes, it is.
So do you want to just address that? Like, how many months in the future do you think we are at this point?
Well, here's the thing. Given the promo for the next episode, again, unless they're going to jump even more months, all I know is I think we're going to be in the 9-month span by the next episode. So the question is, like, are we at 9 months now, or are we close to 9 months? Let's assume 6 months have passed. Well, how long do you think? Well, again, the water's still far from being fixed, but they've been working on it, and they have like the whole plant gets been kind of set up. So looking at it that way, and water supplies are running low, so at least 3 months have gone by. I can verify that 3 months logically would have gone by.
And then remind me, we'll get the 1 month skip at the end, right?
Well, no, I don't think there's any. I think it's all pretty linear because again, Jim is, he's kind of in a life-threatening predicament, and he's pretty much there to the very end. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of time goes by in between the ending of the episode, but I don't think it's a month.
All right, fair enough.
Well, I'm just judging it by how far Babs is showing. That's really the only barometer of time we really have, that and how long it takes to set up like a water filtration thing. So, like a way to clean up Gotham's river.
Okay. All right.
The point is, months have gone by. Let's say 3 at the lowest. Maybe I say between 3 and 6 months have gone by since the last episode. All right. So Penguin's gathered all the gangs. Penguin and Barbara have a little conversation in the kind of the balcony section of Penguin Citadel, and we're kind of checking in here. We're kind of set up some things that, again, another time things that. Enigma's still building the submarine. He's been building it from scratch, which takes time. I just love how kind of pointed Penguin is with that. He's just saying, like, well, Miss Keene, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but, building a submarine from scratch takes time. So So Barbara's questioning like, why is Penguin hosting this thing? And Penguin makes I gotta tell you, I love Robin Lord Taylor this episode. Robin, let's be honest, we love Robin Lord Taylor in every episode, but this episode is great as well because he's playing classic Penguin. He's playing kind of the opulent kind of like he's playing a very kind of some of the great Batman stories have Penguin in kind of a non-central role. He's just like the
Exactly. You know what I kind of equate him to is like kind of like a Cheshire cat of this episode. He's
if not
server who's just kind of like cracking, like observing the rest of the chaos going on. He's like, yeah, I'm in the middle of this, but it's not affecting me.
if not Cheshire Cat, then maybe he's kind of like Sidney Greenstreet in Casablanca.
I could see that. Yeah, yeah.
It's just kind of he's the guy with the means and everything that you go to for things. And again, that's what Penguin is for the most part, especially in No Man's Land. He's the guy you go to for things. And therefore, he's kind of hosting things. He has this great. I love his dialogue too. He's just Penguin's very proper and very. Don't get me wrong. He gets to be kind of the classic unhinged Penguin a little bit later with Bullock. But again, when things are going Penguin's way, he's just kind of like making all these snide comments and everything. I love him. He's saying, "Miss Keene, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer." Is making a good point. They're basically saying that he wants to keep Jim Gordon happy, so he doesn't kind of poo-poo the submarine plans.
All right. So then we get the speech, right? Okay. Sorry.
Yes. He fires right into the speech. I'm sorry. Real quick, there's a really funny line I missed too, where he says, keep Jim Gordon happy until the sub's ready, and Penguin has this really great barb to Barbara. No pun intended. You know all about that, don't you? Keeping Jim Gordon happy. All right, so then the GCPD enters. Guns drawn. So again, like Jim's not an idiot. He's going to be armed to the teeth with his guys. There's to make sure everybody kind of doesn't jump the gun. Again, seemingly that would have worked. So. Jim basically, we have this great line with the Penguin here. It says, "Jim, it's your show. Mi casa es su casa." It's just great. So basically, the cliff notes of the speech are. I'm sorry. Do you want to do the speech?
Maybe not because it looks like I'm running low on data. Why don't you take us through the speech, and then I have to attend to that.
Right. Okay. So basically the cliff notes of the speech of this. So it's been a few months. The water. They only have a few months of water left. Collectively, there's only a few months of water left, which leads to kind of the life or death choice. It's your choice, life or death. Kill each other. Kill each other for the water, or we have a ceasefire so everyone can get their bearings and can kind of collect the water where it can be distributed evenly amongst people. All that stuff, and also Jim makes the point that this helps reunification, as in as long as the government thinks things are wily and kind of lawless in Gotham. Again, if there's a lot of trouble it's stirred up, therefore it's going to be longer before reunification can happen, and they can just kind of forgo all this water crises and all this stuff going on. So the point is, like, if they did a ceasefire, it would also help their cause as well. So, the tide that raises all ships is essentially the point that Jim's making. And again, it's kind of playing. The room's like a little grumbly, a little riley. But basically, there's like this moment where you kind of see them giving them the nod. It's like, okay, things seem to be working. All right, one step forward for a change instead of two steps back. What do you know?
But then, bam, nope.
Yep, a shot has been fired, and we reveal that Jim Gordon.
I love how this is played out, where Bullock's just kind of like rushing to the scene, like, Jim, did you see who shot him? Did you see who fired the shot? Did you see it, Jim? No answer. Jim, and then we kind of slowly reveal that we have a probably a near fatal gunshot wound.
This is This might be a reference to something I really love, but I can't tell Tiki about quite yet. This is a reference to something really cool if this is what they're doing. But anyway, so Jim shot, and we reveal it. I love how we reveal it too. Again, this is Erin Richards is really great directorial instinct. She just really does. Where he's shot in the collapse. It feels like a powerful moment. Again, Jim Gordon kind of embodying the hope of no man's land before Batman enters the fray, and therefore hope has been shot, and he falls. He just collapses, and he's looking in bad shape, folks.
Mhm.
And there's your Gotham logo. I wish had that been the first scene, it might have played. Had that been the only scene, I think it would have played a lot better. But still, it's like that's it's great. As far as cold opens goes, what I mean, like boom, guy shot. Da, 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 da. But no, it's all good though. All right,
Yeah, you're
so
right. It's like it's all framed within the same location, but it kind of feels like two scenes and not one.
yeah. Well, no, it's two different locations: the GCPD, and then we go to the Penguin's place. So
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so Bullock's moving. There's a really great tense scene where it's like when cops get into a bad neighborhood. Of course, there's a lot of tension. Of like, it's you're in a kind of an unruly area. So of course, Bullock has to move Jim, and they can't get to the clinic. They have to get to the Emmy's office within the GCPD. So it's a very tense situation. All the cops, their guns drawn. Everybody's going to get Jim out of there. And again, it's like Jim having to be lifted out of there. It's a really I have a feeling Jim's going to be all right by the end of this episode. But still, my heart was going out to him. It's like, oh no, poor Jim Gordon, he's been shot. Like, oh no, these are life and death stakes right now. This is not good. To quote The Dark Knight. Okay, so that's not good.
Good
So,
pull. Oh.
yep. Let's see. So again, the Peacemaker's shot there and dying. Therefore, chaos is going to reign throughout No Man's Land. So those are the stakes we're dealing with right now. And Penguin has the great line. I didn't see that coming. And Babs is concerned. Of course, we can really kind of have a testament to kind of the soul of kind of the can Barbara be saved as a person? Like, can she redeem herself? Like, can she be redeemed can she make progress in the eyes of Jim Gordon? I think that's kind of it's a neat little tragedy within the episode if you look at it that way. It's somewhat of a tragedy. At least for her, it's a tragedy, I guess. All right. Meanwhile, oh my goodness, I love the next scene. I love the next scene. So, Bruce and Selena. So, they're going into this. They're going into this. It looks like a mansion. They're going into this place. And it's really I love the lighting on this scene. It's like it's daytime, but it's still like it's Gotham, therefore it's always overcast. So it's daytime, and they have these it's a really dark, shadowy location. They have it's a good flashlight shot. I love it when we have like a good kind of Batman or a Gordon or somebody. I love good flashlight cinematography. So Bruce and Selena, they're on a scavenging mission. At least it seems that way. And Selena's kind of voicing this, man, you picked a heck of a time to do a scavenging mission, or picked a heck of a location to do a scavenging mission. And we reveal that Bruce, the old charmer Bruce Wayne, we see the charming side of Bruce Wayne this episode, folks, and it's delightful. Bruce has kind of sprung a date on Selena Kyle. He's basically set up this little candlelit dinner for Selena, and we play. I believe it's the Cherry Blossom Moon. I believe we play that. Victrola puts a record down. It's the Cherry Blossom Moon. I think it's what it's called. It's this really romantic. It's a really romantic gesture in No Man's Land with Bruce and Selena. It's really nice. Yeah, I feel it's a real Tom King move. That's what I really like about it. It feels really, it feels like Tom King loves to do romance, like these little. I'm sorry, Tate, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm working through the problem. I'm like maybe one scene ahead of fixing the problem, so just keep going through. All right.
Okay. Point being,
All right. Thanks. All right.
Point is, I love the Bruce and Selena stuff. It feels very kind of Tom King Batman, which really gets like kind of these really romantic, really kind of small scale Batman stories. Are really kind of great and personal stuff with Batman. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that, some current Batman stuff, I suppose. But point is, I was just it sounds so silly. I know folks indulge me. I thought it was just a really sweet. Romantic gesture and have this really great dialogue here. This is Ben McKenzie. I really love this scene for Ben McKenzie. Ben McKenzie really wrote this scene superbly. I think he did. They did a great job writing this scene. We have this great dialogue where Selena says, "If I didn't know any better, I'd say this is a date." And David Mazouz, he plays this moment beautifully. He hangs up his coat and says, "Maybe it is. Is that okay with you?" And she has this great kind of classic Catwoman delivery. Maybe. It's like, man, I don't know. It's good romance in that scene. It's really nice. just a pleasant scene. Bruce Wayne the Charmer. And of course, as this really nice kind of dinner is going on, Ivy lurks in the background. She lurks in the background. She's going to ruin this date. I know it. All right. So next scene, we have Lee tending the Jim. Kind of like it's kind of like a classic ER scene, if you will. So Jim's been shot, and they got to get him into the ME's office. Which, creepily enough, you got to remember, it's the mortuary for the GCPD, which is like we got to save him in a morgue, which is not a good omen all around, folks. It's never a good omen. So Lee's tending the Jim as Bullock assumes leadership. He kind of assumes captainship for the time being. And of course, it's a big payoff to Jim asking Bullock to take over in case something happens to him. Kind of had to reassure Bullock, well, Bullock, if anything happens to me, I need you to take over. Where, again, it was kind of a big confidence booster to Bullock. And of course, it's coming true right now. And Bullock does a great job here. He's just assuming leadership. He says, okay, guys, we need a show of force because it's going to be lawless now. Again, kind of our head honcho has been taken down. The gangs are going to try to run wild. We're not going to let them. And I'm going to find out who shot my partner.
That's a great Bullock line.
Yeah.
And Bullock in top form this episode.
Yep. Let's see. So, Jim's in the morgue with Lee, which, again, I wonder if somehow subconsciously that's kind of affecting Jim's state of mind later on. I do have to wonder if the morgue setting, they may do a little bit of that. I don't know. That's a reach, I know. But, okay, so the point is Lee's tending the Jim. Basically, she says that Jim has a bullet that shattered against his rib, which just sounds nasty as all get out. A bullet is shattered against the rib bone, I guess. And then the shrapnel's... The main concern is the shrapnel. She has to kind of fish out of them, which is really nasty stuff. And Lee's a little rusty on surgery. She's more kind of, she's, again, not... It's not that she's not a trained surgeon, but, she hasn't really done a lot of that since med school. That's the idea. But, she's... the majority of the episode, as we kind of state here with Lee, is that Lee can deal with the damage. That's not the problem. The problem is Jim has to do the fighting. Jim has to come to. It's kind of he's going to be in a comatose state unless he comes to, and the longer he's kind of unconscious, the more jeopardy he's in. That's essentially the idea. All right, so we have this.
Almost.
So we have this great bit here where really great direction by Aaron Richards here, where again, so Jim's on the table, and we kind of do almost like a Jesse Pinkman kind of the heroin shot from I guess it's I'm trying to think what the from season 2 of Breaking Bad, the episode I can't remember it. Basically, Jesse takes heroin for the first time. Therefore, the way they shot this is that they lift Aaron Paul kind of like above the sheets, and they kind of lift him from where he's at. And we do kind of that with Jim here. Really, Jim lifts from the table, and we drop away the table that he's on. Then he's just kind of standing upright in a really great location-wise. I love what they've done here. It's like the 4th time they've done this, but I think it's the best they've done of any time here. Where again, they take it's a matter of budget. Where Jim, he's in the GCPD. They couldn't afford a courtroom, but they used the GCPD's kind of proscenium staging, and they've covered in smoke and shadows and darkness, and kind of basically obscured it so it looks very much like a courtroom.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's cool. I'm sorry. It's yeah, you're right. It is a good stylistic choice, and I like how it kind of blends reality and the dream world and life and death, and that's one of the really cool things I like about this episode is the kind of the lines being blurred in that regard. Yeah,
and of course, I mean, for Jim Gordon,
I'm gonna try this on my laptop. All right, we might have mixed results, but we'll see how it goes.
If it's that much of a problem, we might as well just let's just go forward. And they need some little feedback. That's all.
Okay.
All right. So so what was I getting at? Oh, yes. So we have this great kind of visual introduction to Jim and the GCPD. It looks great, and Jim's kind of putting together. Where the heck am I? We have these. I call them Kirby shackles. I have this thing that Jack Kirby in the Marvel comics. What he would do is that.
That's great.
Here's the thing. I call them Kirby shackles because in the Marvel comics, Jack Kirby, you would have these characters who go on trial, and usually it's like in the Fantastic Four, you'd have characters who go on trial. There's this great image in comics where it's Reed Richards on trial. I think it's by the Skrulls or somebody. It's either the Kree or the Skrulls. Somebody puts him on trial. and he has like the manacle chains that basically kind of his both. It's like handcuffs, but again the shackles then going to go to the floor. It's just kind of this great Y shape almost, and it's just a great look. I don't know why. It's just like and basically you have to stand in front of you stand in front of the judge and what's going on, who you're being tried against. It's just a great look, and I think Kirby did that with Superman in an issue. So again, it's been a bleed over into other things. Therefore, it's kind of like a Kirby style. I'm pretty sure it looks great.
Okay, Dragon, just to be clear, I think Hulu itself is having the issue.
All right.
It's down on both my smartphone and my laptop.
Okay.
So basically just don't like cue me in specific lines.
All right, fine.
All right.
Okay, so the point is, I just love seeing Kirby Shackles kind of realized in live action is what I'm getting. Is that it just looks darn cool. It does. And of course, one of my favorite characters with the Kirby Shackles. Like, oh my God, never imagine Jim Gordon Kirby Shackles. That looks awesome. So he's been brought. He's brought there to be. Basically, the judge says, "You've been brought here to be judged for your many crimes." Unfortunately, it's a judge that it's a really. This episode has a big kind of a let me go back. It's one important detail I think we've skipped over. Of course, so we're in Jim's mind. If you haven't put it together, we're in kind of Jim's hallucinatory state. He's kind of in limbo right now between life and death, and we're doing another kind of hallucination, a wild ride kind of dream episode. Which, of course, we've seen in 2 episodes before this. We had it with Jim, literally with the Alice in Wonderland, the Down the Rabbit Hole episode, where Jim was kind of affecting the Mad Hatter put Jim under with kind of a chemical compound, and that's mainly what they're drawing from for this. That was a great episode. I love that episode.
And then we had the one with the Court of Owls, right?
Well, that's the Court of Owls episode I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, right.
So that's the main example. But Bruce Wayne, I think this might be what you're thinking of. Of course, last season Poison Ivy scratched Bruce, and there was the big Destiny episode where we had the big dream sequence.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, because it's kind of like it feels like partly.
It does, because Bruce Wayne being the focus with that sort of thing. Yeah. That's the thing. Basically, they're kind of borrowing from those 2 really great kind of dream hallucination episodes. They're kind of doing it again with Jim here, and it's kind of a mark of a really good episode. And so yeah, that's the gist of what we're doing here. And this episode does lend itself to, again, we're in Jim's mind, therefore we can have a lot of cameos and have a lot of fun with it and stuff. Unfortunately, the main issue I have is that we have some missed opportunities with that. Primarily, who the judge is. We couldn't have made the judge any. Again, the big thing they're pulling from the whole putting Jim Gordon on trial idea, again, that comes from No Man's Land. It's not out of left field. We put Jim on trial because it's a big scene in No Man's Land. Of course, we can't do Two-Face, but really, they couldn't get anyone else to be the judge. Really? They couldn't get my instant go to be the Penguin. Have the Penguin be judge, or I don't know. They want to be. Really
just to be clear though, I feel like the judge that we do get. I don't know, Dragon. To me, he kind of exuded like an old school, like fire and brimstone's menace to the corrupt court system. I don't know.
There is a fire and brimstone quality. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying that, if they were to get Chickless back, this would be the role to put him in.
Oh God! Oh yes! Oh my! Oh! Guilty!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, so But yeah, that's the thing. I'm not. The judge doesn't kill the episode or anything. I'm just saying there's a few things kind of bug me. It's like, yeah, they could have had more characters in kind of Jim's kind of dream scenes. We do have that scene later on that kind of makes up for it. So I think it's a little half and half. It's fine though. Point is, the judge saying this fire and brimstone judge is like saying, you've been brought here to be judged for your many crimes, and your life hangs in the balance. Do you understand that? Do you understand this? And Jim's saying, no. And of course, again, it's like everyone's worst nightmare when you go in front of a judge, whether it's like for traffic court or something. It's like the worst. It's like the worst case scenario in any trial, where it's like you say, no, I'm not. I don't understand this. What's going on here? And the judge saying, good, you understand, and the defendant understands, and he also waives his right for appeal, meaning this is for all the marbles, meaning like there's no second trial. This is it. And of course, the trial of James Gordon will now begin. So, again, this episode really gets kicked off, and I love. I just want to talk about this. How do you feel about getting another hallucination episode broadly? Because I love it with these hallucination episodes, specifically with the Jim Gordon one. I loved when we get into his head. That's what I loved about the first time we did this, and we could do it again. It's always a lot of fun.
No, I have no problem with it. Like, I don't think it's something that's necessarily overdone, like with the ratio at which we've done per season. So, and you're right, we do get into different characters' heads, and they're also just a lot of fun and a way to do cool things stylistically. And yeah, I have no problem with them at all.
And again, I like how much like we did with Bruce this episode. And again, I was kind of hoping that I assumed this was going to happen with Bruce again, but again, doing with Jim was kind of the fun. This was the fun surprise for me for the episode. Like, oh, we're doing a hallucination episode. And again, I was wondering like how they're going to do like a specific trial because again, we were imagining given like that the opening of the episode, it was going to be like okay, the gangs of No Man's Land are going to pass judgment, or it's going to be like kind of like a trial, but he's going to go through some bad stuff, which he does. So it's kind of a trial in that regard. But no, we're doing a literal trial. It's like oh my god, yeah, that's awesome. And again, much like the Bruce Wayne thing, I was expecting, we're affirming kind of the next stage in our characters becoming. So that's the great kind of story reason for all this. I like that we gave it that. All right. So back to the this wonderful romantic scene that we had earlier on with Bruce and Selena. We have Selena said that's the best canned meal I've ever had. I don't know how you're gonna top it after the mainland kind of everything gets back to normal.
And then that leads into this very Batman-esque conversation dragon that I think you and I were both pretty stoked for. It's kind of like Bruce laying down, like, why, yes, Selena, but this is the philosophy of Batman, damn it. Am I not? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
It feels. The point is,
It's just like it's a catch-22. I hunt bad guys to stop the chaos, but the chaos happens because I hunt the bad guys.
pretty much. And I will say this: it's kind of a mixture of the classic kind of it's kind of Batman 101, like why it's kind of what Tom King's getting into the thick of, all clever and creatively right now in the comics. The whole like, can Batman be happy question. Of course, literally was with the whole Catwoman relationship he's having in the comics right now. It's the question like, can he be happy? Like, can there be a Batman and a happy life for the guy? Like, can he be like, is he all vigilante and kind of happy newlywed? Can he be that or all that stuff? Regardless, I think the other side of it too. This gave me some kind of echoes of Phantasm. I really liked it. Again, this kind of Bruce before he commits to the mission. That's the idea. It's kind of like he's having doubts about becoming Batman in this episode. That's what he's having right now. Where basically Bruce
If anything,
thinks
it could evolve into him. I don't know. What do you think of the idea that he's Batman for like a night? This is just pure speculation that he's Batman for like a night or so, just to help with the No Man's Land situation. And then at the end of the series, he goes off with Selena, but not as an escape, but more so to do the Batman Begins slash Year One thing of going into training.
I think that'd be gutsy. I think that'd be gutsy, but I don't think they're gonna go that route. I don't think that's a bad idea though. I just don't think they're gonna go that route because you do all this, you reach the end of the season, then like we're not gonna see Batman. I think that'd be like another Smallville. Well, then
No, I'm
again,
not saying we're not going to say see
yeah,
Batman. I'm
yeah.
Batman in action.
Well, okay. Basically, it might be a more satisfying version with how Smallville ended, where we see him in the thing, but we don't just kind of end with him, kind of ready, just to kind of go from there. Like I don't mind that, but I don't know. I don't think it's. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. And I wouldn't do that for the ending. But I could. It's a valid point you're making. Is what I'm getting at.
All right.
Because he would need more training, of course. But again, they're kind of looking through the begins framework, or the
And
begins
then
framework
out
is he.
steps God. Out steps Max Tayro as oh boy.
Area.
Terriot, yeah, sorry. As I don't know, who would he play?
Well, I mean, the running gag is that he's young Bruce Wayne. In this case, older Bruce Wayne, which in this case of the series would make him Batman now.
But then so basically it'd be like a time loop, like, hello Bruce, I'm slightly older you.
Okay.
Anyways.
All right. Anyway, obscure Bates Motel reference aside. No, in all seriousness, though, so this is a really good scene. This is David Mazouz just really he's killing his. He's always been doing a great job as Bruce Wayne. This season brought out the best in everyone. I really think. Again, Ben McKenzie never has sounded more like Jim Gordon than in this season, and of course, David Mazouz, he's getting all these really great meaty Bruce Wayne scenes here, where Bruce is having doubts about kind of his destiny, where Bruce doesn't think that there will be a normal for him. That he's pondering if losing Wayne Manor was fate. That he's kind of losing. Basically, he's kind of, and this is what I was hoping the episode would do as well, just doing a little bit more subtly than I expected them to. Where he's kind of weighing his options, like should I or should I not become Batman? Because again, things are kind of telling me. Well, let's get through the scene. I'll kind of weigh in on that. I'm just jumping ahead of myself. It's really exciting stuff. That's why. So he's saying maybe Wayne Manor being destroyed was fate, and Selena disagrees, saying no, that was Jeremiah blowing up your house. It's not fate. And he's Bruce. He's really kind of great. Kind of contemplate. I love how contemplative he is in the scene here, and he's contemplating. What if he. He's contemplating moving from Gotham. He's contemplating, what if I left Gotham? And this is the really interesting thing of the episode here, where he's contemplating if me leaving Gotham might be the best thing I can do for it, because I do care about. Selena says, "Well, you care about this city," and he's reflecting on like all the stuff that Bruce. And this is where I'm getting at is that he's reflecting on how Bruce Wayne. Emphasis on Bruce Wayne here. He's emphasizing how kind of Bruce Wayne has hurt Gotham, because you have Theo Galavan, all the stuff, the Wayne name brought, Galavan, the whole bad guy of season 2, well, kind of. Started real ridiculous. All the Galavan stuff was ridiculous in retrospect. The point is, he's weighing on, well, Galavan was brought to Gotham, Ra's al Ghul, and basically, if I do, the city is my home, sure, but maybe the best thing I can do for my home is leave it. If all I'm going to do is bring kind of doom to Gotham, maybe I should leave it so I can protect the city that my parents love, that they raised me in. Which is a very valid point. So again, he's having doubts, and what I think they're getting at with all this is that this is the creation of, like, you need another persona. It's kind of like a reverse Batman Begins, where you need, well, I guess not a reverse, it's kind of a Batman Begins angle, where he needs to be a symbol. I need a symbol to fix this lawless city. As Bruce Wayne, I can't do that. As Bruce Wayne, I'm a man who can be destroyed. That sort of stuff with Batman Begins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think he's coming to. He's having doubts.
I'm just trying to get to where we are, so.
Okay. But you follow.
Yeah, I'm following, yeah.
I mean, that again, I think it's a neat idea. Kind of look at somewhat of a phantasm context of, like, the guy. He's having these really fundamental questions before he embarks on the mission, or kind of facilitates before the mission falls in line. Before I'm going to stop the superstitious and cowardly. Before he kind of decides to don the suit. And again, I like that. Kind of like Phantasm. It's kind of aligned with we're kind of viewing this story through Selena's eyes, so it's kind of neat in that regard. So we're kind of connecting kind of certain kind of big milestones with Batman. In kind of an intimate setting. So all that's kind of nice. And of course, as he's kind of thinking about leaving Gotham, he says maybe that's the best thing I can do for it. Ivy enters and just kind of puts a damper on this already really kind of big and stoic and kind of like Bruce is already kind of like, he's kind of taken the kind of the romantic gathering to kind of soap opera territory. I don't mean that in a bad way. Usually when I say soap opera, I mean in the worst way possible. In this case, it's kind of it's like things are getting dramatic. It's like, man, there's actual stakes here. And then Ivy enters and just kind of undercuts it by saying, yeah, maybe you should, billionaire boy. Maybe you should.
It's like it's not such a bad idea. I kind of agree with you.
Yeah. All right, then we go to Penguin.
Sorry, Dragon, just still trying to get to where we are.
Yes. Then we have the Penguin here, and the Penguin's saying, "Jim Gordon's blood on my floor. Ugh, disgusting. Oh God, get in here, clean it up." It's just, this little Penguin's this wonderfully selfish character. Was like, a man's been shot, a man who I have all these fundamental connections to, of course, like in the whole, like, the Pier scene from the very beginning of it all, and his blood's on my floor. Clean it up. He stained this guy who I've kind of an on and off kind of dynamic with. He's stained my glorious Citadel floor. Someone clean it up. All right, so Penguin's looking on the upside here. I just love Penguin and kind of that on the side. It's kind of the Greek chorus for Barbara in the episode for the most part. He's just saying, "Hey, look on the upside. Your baby daddy, Gotham's top cop. He's in dire straits right now. A dead Jim Gordon means no one's going to stop you from getting your bundle of joy. That's a win for you, Barbara. We should celebrate." And they call Bullock and say, "Hey, Bullock, let's celebrate. Let's go to the bar. Let's get some drinks. Let's not. Well, wait a minute. You're celebrating the death of Jim Gordon. Yeah. Let's screw this party. I'm out, man. No, and of course, none of that happens because that'd be all ridiculous and just would not work remotely well at all. So, what actually, but Bullock is involved in this scene, so we're not far off. So Bullock enters, and I love this. I love Penguin's trying to. This cracks me up. I love the Penguin's trying to make, again, really well shot. So the camera's just kind of following Harvey as he just kind of enters guns blazing into the scene here, where Penguin's making with the pleasantries. Harvey, how is our guy? Basically asking, how's Jim? How's our guy making out? Of course, his mid-sentence just punches him right in the face. He said, I love that as acting Captain Bullock's adopted the Jim Gordon problem solver. You know, when in doubt, punch a guy in the face. You know, when in doubt, to get your way, just punches Penguin square in the face. Bam! You know, he's chewing out Penguin, asking his involvement, and you know, Penguin.
I want a name.
Penguin's response:
I merely hosted the venue. Or something along those lines, Dragon. It's a great line, a great delivery. Again, I just don't have it line for line just yet.
I supplied the venue at your boss's request.
I supplied the venue.
At your boss's request, I mind you. And then he's just getting like, you know, who's this? Asking whose fault is this? I'll tell you who's to blame. Jim Gordon, who invited every criminal in Gotham. What did you expect to happen? Again, I like that's kind of the episode calling its logic on itself. Where it was a risky move. You gotta be honest. So some of that is on Jim. In retrospect, I mean, it was going in his favor, but still, you know.
All right, so Dragon, I am officially lined up.
All right.
So Bullock just kind of punches him in the gut, takes him down, and goes on to Babs.
Asking Babs' involvement.
And then Babs is like, Harvey, you might think a lot of things about me, but I did not plan to kill my child's father.
So let's see. So then of course, just to summarize it a little bit here, Bullock makes the sniper discovery because Penguin points out the thing. I gotta admit, it was a little obvious. Again, Bullock, he's been a little busy, so he hasn't quite put it together. And Bullock's a little, his friend's been shot and he's in dire straits, so he's a little ticked off right now. He's not really thinking because even you and the audience, like, you knew it was a sniper, right?
I mean, I feel like if Bruce was in this scene, or even Gordon himself, they would have been able to figure it out right away.
Right. Yeah, because you heard that sound, it was a sniper in the earlier scene, and of course, the fact that it came from nowhere and no one was really kind of taking responsibility for it or anything, it just sounded kind of like a sniper move. Anyway, so the point is that Bullock finds that it was a sniper, and he kind of puts two and two together, and he finds the trajectory of the bullet. He grabs it, and of course, he's going to kind of do some ballistic stuff a little bit later in the episode. So he leaves, and of course, Barbara, again, showing some support here. Barbara showing that, maybe Babs can change, man. Barbara's asking if there's anything she can do, and Bullock, challenges her on this, is keep the gangs from tearing the city apart, which, again, I think that Bullock's making the most of his captaincy. He's like, you know what? You want to help? Here's how you can help.
Yeah, I like that. It's a very just, all right, this is very cut and dry. It's not going to be easy, but if you can do it, it'd be genuinely helpful.
Meanwhile, Ivy has plans for Bruce, some sinister plans for Bruce, and she brought the mutant leader, to deal with. Seriously though, it's a Dark Knight Returns pull. It's always kind of the mutant leader. It was cool to see him realized in live action. That's the mutant leader. Does he belong in this? Not whatsoever. But is he cool to see?
That's Gotham for you, Dragon. That's Gotham.
Because look, if you want to be technical, and for any
nothing shocking.
For any lifers with Gotham like Tiki and I think you might recall that the mutants were set up in season 2 with Mr. Cupcake. Mr. Cupcake and the mutants. They you remember Mr. Cupcake, don't you?
Vaguely.
Alfred guy had to beat up the leader of the gang, who was this hilarious, this ridiculous Mr. Cupcake.
God.
Anyway, so you had to fight Cupcake, and this Alfred calls him Mr. Cupcake. If I understand you correctly,
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember Alfred's delivery of Mr. Cupcake. I
And the
remember.
idea is like the gang around him, the gang that Cupcake was a part of, was the mutants. Therefore, would correlate to the mutant leader, which again we never thought we were going to see the honest for goodness mutant leader who we see now with in this season. So, point is, Ivy just ran into the mutant leader because again he is in the same zone. He's hanging out around this area. They're in the dark zone. So he brought the mutant leader, who again Selena beat the tar out of the mutant leader and scratched his face year one cell. So the mutant leader is not happy. So basically brought him to deal with Selena while Bruce gets controlled via perfume. Can Ivy doing her thing gets controlled via perfume, and she's a really great line saying, last time you and I in regards to Bruce, saying, last time we talked about the future of Gotham. Gotham will be what I decide, a green world. And I love all this whole Destiny of Gotham type stuff. This feels like Snyder Gotham. More importantly, it feels like Zero Year Gotham. And again, I like tying in Zero Year and No Man's Land. It's kind of a neat idea what they're going for this season.
Mm.
So she's so as she leaves with Bruce, she acknowledges Selena, kind of like twists the knife, so to speak. She says, she acknowledges that without plants, you wouldn't be able to be walking right now. Think about that. I did that for you. Think about that while my friend's cutting your heart out, which is also a deep cut reference to.
Can I also just acknowledge, Dragon? This
Sure.
is something that I just noticed in the background that kind of cracked me up.
Yeah.
As Ivy is just getting the knife twist in verbally, Bruce in the background is just politely collecting his coat.
Yeah, you saw that too. Yeah,
Yes,
cool.
I saw it. I saw it. Yeah.
I caught that on the rewatch because you dialed into it the first time. The rest,
Yep.
oh yeah, he's in the background. That's good.
He's just like politely like, yeah, of course he would have a coat and he'd have to go to collect it.
Quote Batman Begins, it is a nice coat.
That's some good blocking right there, Dragon.
Quote Batman Begins, it is a nice coat. All right. So yeah, I mean, the whole cutting the heart out threat, by the way, the fact Mutiny's armed with this big honking knife. I do love that it's kind of a deep cut reference to something that happened to Catwoman in the comics, where her heart was actually cut out of her body.
Ew.
It was creepy. That was Hush. Hush did that to her because Hush having really deep seated issues with Bruce Wayne. It's like you like Batman, huh? And just cuts out her heart and just leaves it for Bruce to find. It's really nasty stuff. Anyway. Little horror story stuff. Okay, so I believe Paul Dini wrote that story too. It's called Heart of Hush, apropos enough. It's the sequel to Hush, not the original. Anyway, okay, so as Selena's dealing with that, and of course as Bruce is going for a wild ride with Ivy, Lee laments over Jim. Again, Jim being in dire straits, it's kind of up to him to get himself out of the woods here. She tells Jim to speak, and I love the correlations, by the way. Like whatever Lee says on the outside has some bearing or some correlation to what's going on in Jim's kind of hallucinated trial. So the trial begins, and who's the prosecutor of this case?
The prosecutor is Jim.
Now look, this is cool, and it's Mackenzie having fun. You can tell it's Mackenzie.
Jim. Hello, Jim. Hello, Jim.
And of course, you have Clayface coming. Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
Oh.
If you want to complain that there aren't enough, there aren't enough characters within the trial itself, you can always say, "Okay, it's Clay Gordon." That's who it is.
Dragon, also, this is going to be the one time that I'm going to acknowledge this. This episode had kind of a Leftovers vibe.
Yeah, I can see that. There's definitely a bit of Leftovers in the trial.
With the two versions of the main character, and the one in light and the one in black.
Yeah, there is.
On the verge of the afterlife. You get my point.
I get your point. I got you.
Anyways.
So, But what did you think of that?
I thought it was very funny. Like when I don't know if it was supposed to be funny, but when Gordon came out, like the second Gordon, I did kind of pull an LOL, Dragon. I must admit.
I gotta tell you again, Ben McKenzie relishes when he gets to kind of do kind of funny things with Gordon.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I laughed, because it was like, oh, Ben McKenzie's gonna have so much fun with this.
I mean, it's less just the fact that there are two Gordons, it's more the fact of just how the second Gordon is getting all he's a fire and brimstone version of Gordon. He's like kind of a cocky prosecutor hamming it up. That's the fun of it all right there. And that's something you could always make the point of like, yeah, we could have had a different character in the role. Sure we could have, but it's fun.
No, for this, I think they made the right choice.
They did because one, it's fun, but on the more important level, it's the fact that, again, Jim is Jim feeling guilty about things, therefore he's judging himself. Well, he's putting himself on trial. That's the more accurate thing. Here's the thing: I think they would have borderline on legit comedy if Gordon was also the judge. That's the thing where they would have that's the thing. They have two Gordons that's legitimate, three Gordons that's when you can say, okay, now we're just having too much fun. If Gordon was in like a judge's robe, it's like, I don't know. But bear in mind, remember
Right.
remember that Mad Hatter the episode.
You know what? Then we're verging on Pirates 3 territory with like
that's what I'm saying.
Sparrows.
However, in defense, Barbara did have. And I wonder if this Aaron Richards getting the idea from this, because remember she played multiple Barbaras in the in the Mad Hatter episode.
That's true. That is true.
He did. Maybe that's where she got the idea. He says, "Hey Ben, yeah, why don't you do multiple? Why don't you do multiple U's? Multiple me's? Don't you think it's a little self-serving? Well, I'm the director. I say it's okay. Okay." It's probably not remotely how the writers' room. I know for a fact not how the writers' room goes.
No, Dragon, that's exactly how it happened.
Okay. Anyway, that would be hilarious, but it's not important. Okay, so all right. So the point is, so prosecutor Jim walks out there and says, essentially says, James Gordon, you failed Gotham at every turn. You failed to clean up the city. You failed to stop the bridges from being blown up. And you failed essentially you failed Haven. Haven was destroyed because of your failure. And of course, Jim during this trial, like he's kind of still in the state of like asking, what the heck's going on here? Like where I'm hurt. I need help here. What's going on? And the judge tells him to be silent, or he'll be held.
One more outburst, and you will be held in contempt.
Yep. I hold myself in contempt. Why should you be any different? Sorry, random liar reference, but getting back.
Oh God,
that's a great scene in Liar Liars. This is like a really, again, we're vaguely trial related here, but seriously, the climax in Liar Liars is really heartfelt and emotional.
All right. So, anyways, basically, we get this the first thematic beat of Gordon being like, "I did the best I could," which is a really big story beat that kind of gets to the heart of the character throughout the episode of if Gordon doing the best he could and the best he can, resulting in all these people dying and all these people trusting his word and him not following through and bad things happening, not necessarily by Gordon's intention. What Gordon's saying is true. He is doing the best he can, but there's just things that are out of his control, and I feel like the episode does a really good job highlighting that theme.
This episode, real quick, I love how this episode it views how there are no perfect solutions in this episode. I really respect that. Like there's no bows put on the. There's not exactly a bow to tie up the problem that Jim has this episode. Where again, Jim's he's judging himself. Again, these are things that he's been dealing with for 4 seasons now. All the bad stuff that he's experienced. Again, like all the kind of the psychological trauma that he's faced. All the mistakes. All the bad stuff of trying to fix kind of a perpetually wounded city. It's like he's the Band-Aid solution to a city that's dying. Essentially, he's just trying to kind of revitalize. Therefore, he's kind of representative of Gotham in this episode. Like Gotham in the midst of no man's land is a dying city. That again, if you want to look at Gordon as the metaphor for the city, you kind of have that as well. If he's kind of tying himself into the city, you kind of have that. And of course, we need a Batman to be kind of the reunification solution. But yeah, I love that Jim's putting himself on trial and he's calling himself on things. And again, like that guilt, it's only going to get you so far that he does feel bad for these things. But again, they are out of his control. It brings me back to one of my all-time favorite Gordon lines from the Dark Knight. Whenever I think of if you need a line that summarizes the character of Jim Gordon, it's the line from the Dark Knight in the Harvey Dent meeting Jim Gordon scene where he says, "I do the best with what I have." It's just he's a guy who does the best.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Dragon. That's the quintessential Gordon right there.
And that's what the situation is here. Again, a character who, again, through the framework of Gotham, this is kind of the genius thing of the whole series, especially this season, is again, they achieved it. They always said they were going to plan this ever since the beginning. That each season of the series would get progressively worse for the city. The city would be in a dire strait, more so than the last season. And we're at a point where, again, it's a city where we absolutely need a Batman. We need something different. We can't. It's not a show where a beat cop cleans up the city. That's a happy ending. This show does not have a happy ending. It has a hopeful ending.
Hmm.
I guess, like, there's still work to be done ending, and then we're on the path of getting that. So anyway, so when Gordon's found in contempt, he begins to bleed out. So this is where we get into the trippy dream stuff. We have a lot of great kind of trippy hallucination, lucid dreaming type stuff here, where
Yeah, he notices the bleeding out in real life, and he's like, I'm hurt. I think I'm dying.
and this is also, I gotta tell you, I think it's just completely coincidental, but Tom King does this all the time in the Batman books, Tiki, where he just repeats a line of dialogue over and over again. It has like the thematic, has like there's a thematic reasoning to it, where like just a line of dialogue will be repeated throughout the issue until like the big payoff at the end. That's kind of what he does a lot of the time. So can I have it maybe a little echo of it here? It's kind of neat. Probably reading into it,
Nice,
so
nice.
take it for what you will. All right. So okay, so the big issue, basically, what our prosecutor, his big opening statement. That's what he's doing. He's doing the opening statement, where he kind of ends on him saying, "This isn't an issue of how many have died at the hands of this man, but how many more will satisfy your need to be a hero. How many more people have to die to satisfy your need to be a hero?" And then the real question is, like, I'll rephrase, Your Honor: are the people in Jim Gordon's life better off with him alive or dead? And of course, you'll be like, I'm dying, I'm dying. And of course, I call the first witness, Dr. Leslie Tompkins, because Lee entering with the veil on, which of course is kind of a foreshadow as well, which again makes
I
you
love the
wonder.
silhouette. It's a great shot.
Yeah, and also I do wonder if it's kind of a Yes.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I like how the veil is kind of a tipping of the hat to what might be on Jim's mind after that earlier scene where Jim's contemplating a few things with Lee, and I think the formation of the idea might be in here with her with this veil on. I don't know.
Hmm.
All right, well, we're gonna get to the thing when we get to the next part of that scene, so that's when we're gonna get there. Okay, so Bullock. Meanwhile, Bullock's checking in. Bullock's checking in. It's up to Jim now, essentially, is what Lee says. It's up to him to wake up, essentially. Bullock reassembles the bullet with the pieces that were taken out of Jim, and he sees a bullet with the carved initials on it. What are those initials?
VZ.
Can only be one person.
I'm trying to think of like a celebrity with those initials, but I can't. I can't. It's Victor Zsasz.
Yep,
Oh
Victor Zsasz. So,
boy.
boy, oh boy. So we cut from that to Zaz shooting at the GCPDs on the outside of the.
I love how abrupt this is. It's like Zaz is just like right in the middle of it. Like, so we've got a rock song playing. It's just like he's like so in his element, It's like, all right, here we go. Here's some good old fashioned Victor Zaz action. You know what you're gonna get, and you're gonna get it.
Oh yeah. So Zaz, he's shooting at the GCPD. He wants Gordon because the idea is he didn't finish the job. He shot Gordon, and the word has gotten out that Gordon's kind of hanging on by a thread. Therefore, he has to stop. And then we have a really awesome moment here too. You can tell him about the awesome moment.
Oh, the awesome moment is Alfred coming up. Alfred just runs up and he's like, "Oi, oi!"
Yep.
Punches him in the face, square in the face.
And we have this great perspective shot from Zaz, like on the ground. We didn't even see him.
I heard you were looking for James Gordon, mate.
Yeah.
Up. Cool. It's so cool. That's such a great Alfred moment.
Of course, Zaz is going like, and I'm just like, bam, like Alfred for the win, man. Yeah, go. I was like saying,
I love the oi oi.
It's like snot left.
It's so like badass, like British street gangster.
It is. It also feels like it kind of reminds me of like How to Train Your Dragons with Snot Loud. His catchphrase was Snot Loud, oi, oi, oi. It's the whole oi, oi, oi thing. I don't know. Yeah, you're right though. It's just cool. I just love. I mean, man, Alfred just kind of saving Gordon. It's not even usually in his purview. He's kind of saving. He was kind of helping out in a big way. That's awesome. Just going up there and taking out Victor Zsasz of all people. Way to go, Alfred, man. Butler for the win.
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, Selena, she tries using the old let's let bygones be bygones. And of course, the mutant leader's like, you scratched the heck out of my face. Like, no. Well, I gave it a shot. You know, they weren't much of a looker anyway. So then we have also with the mutant leader. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. We have a great thing this episode, Tika, that we kind of alluded to at the very start of things. We had a return of Ivy Lovefest. The Ivy effect is in this episode all over the place. You and
Oh
I love
yes,
the
yes,
Ivy effect.
absolutely. I
Ivy
don't think
effect's
it's
hilarious.
as fun as the last time we saw it, where the whole GCPD was held hostage. We got all these like great moments, like, but we love Ivy. We can't let you stop Ivy, Jim. I'm sorry. It's like the great thing is, it's like they're so apologetic to Jim about the situation, but at the same time, they're also really compelled to help Ivy.
I mean, look, I just think I think they're evenly as funny because you had more random characters in the first game, which makes it funnier. Or it's just like like the random patrol cops saying, "Hey, we heard what you said about Ivy." Yeah, Ben McKenzie playing the comedy with Selena, where Selena saying, "Ivy's awesome." Yeah, yeah. I was just talking about how great Ivy was, wasn't I? Selena says, "Yeah, she's super great." Just anyways. Here we have it with Zaz head over heels for Ivy, and of course Bruce as well. Like,
This
Bruce
is a
Wayne head
great
over
kind
heels.
of like twisted love story.
It is. So okay, so with the mutant leader we say just this great dialogue here. The mutant leader saying something along the lines of says, "You hurt Ivy's feelings. She's so sweet. Why would you do that?"
Seems like a Sweetums thing to say.
Pretty much. Like, what if Sweetums were a punk inspired just killer? Really? What if Sweetums
Just straight up murderer. But he still had the personality and lovability of Sweetums.
just like chasing down? He's chasing down the Batmobile. Like, come on, guys. And the mutant leader with a random suitcase. Like, come on, I just want to you rubber bullets.
I just want to kill one of y'all for sport.
Oh god. Anyway, no. So Selena, she takes. I
Oh
love
god,
she
we've
takes
ruined Sweetums for Muppet Vision.
No. Well, maybe you have.
If a
Anyway,
little kid listens to this podcast and then is like, and then they go see Muppet Vision, it's like, oh no, it's Sweetums. Oh.
well, you can have a whole hallucinatory trial to kind of deal with that issue, Tiki, on your own time, but we don't have that time right now. So, Selena, she has this really great move. Again, good choreography in this episode too, where she just kind of takes down this giant guy in like one move, and then she interrogates him. Okay, like tell me where Bruce Wayne's heading. And of course, and we cut back to Bullock and Zaz having a little interrogation scene in the room, one interrogation to the other. And unless you have the dialogue, I'm just going to have to summarize it here. Any luck?
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I have it, but go ahead and just summarize it because I need to go grab some coffee in the other room if I'm gonna, because I'm kind of drifting. So give me one moment, just summarize, move us on to the next scene. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, so Zaz and Bullock, they have some banter where again it's kind of Anthony Kerrigan as Victor Zaz, who again on Barry season 2 coming up here, folks. He's in Barry season 1, but he's going to be really big in Barry season 2. Just trust me, it's him just playing the heck out of Zaz here, and of course he gets to cut loose with Zaz even more than usually. It's kind of the pleasant killer Zaz gets to play with that even more so, given Zaz's state of mind right now, where Bullock's is shouting in his face, "Oh man, your breath smells like a butcher." It just smells basically like just making fun of him like that's just me. I'm going vegan now. Just like it's just these random tidbits of Zaz's life just seem fascinating in their own right, which I swear to God, Barry's kind of all about like exploring these little flights of fantasy further. It's like what have we kind of followed Zaz and saw what he's doing on the side here. It was just I'm vegan now. So Bullock's asking, like, why now? Why shoot him now? Like, we can reflect back to the really great, one of the really great episode endings where Jim saved Zaz's bacon from Penguin before Penguin's going to execute him for the whole Haven bombing. And they had that great kind of standoff where Zaz could have killed Jim, but he didn't because again, there's kind of an honor code there. Like, Jim, I will shoot you. I don't want to, but like one of these days, if you leave me alive, that whole thing where. Point is a bit of an honor code there, therefore Zaz wouldn't kill Jim without a reason is the point.
And Dragon, he has all the reason of the world, because if he doesn't, then Ivy will be mad.
Yeah, so he can't say Ivy's name, but the Ivy Bullock, being a good detective, he picks up on the Ivy effect. Like, are you high? He says, "Love." on Love, where of course he realizes, oh, it's the Ivy Pepper, and then we have this
I
really
love
great.
how we have the like, give me a name. A name. What is a name? A rose, if any other name.
Which, by the way, Winter Ives really like that line. No, I'm sorry,
That was
I think
great. That was a great delivery with drives. I agree.
well, Winter Ives, I think was just saying, do you ever stop to smell the roses? Which I mean, I'm just going to use that as an equivalent there, but it's a good line all the same. But yeah, I love more so what happens. So Bullock leaves the room now. He knows, okay, Ivy's involved. Therefore, we have our leads. She's basically told Zaz to kill Gordon. She has some sort of end game with all that going on here. So
Mhm.
Zaz is having a love fest here. This is the great Ivy effect comedy here. It says Ivy, the most beautiful name in the world, and it goes through all these permutations. Ivy Peppers. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Ivy Pepper. And of course, the funniest thing, Mrs. Ivy Pepper's ass.
Yes, that sounds right.
It's just great. The character is just wonderful. Just these great. I'm so glad we have another show that he's on too, just to get more of them. Okay, Alfred and Lee. Okay, here we go, folks. Emmy scene for Sean Pertwee right here, folks. Buckle up. So Alfred and Lee have a little conversation, which says they kind of get to the heart of the matter here. They have a scene where Lee's kind of Alfred heard through the grapevine. She and Jim had kind of a blow up over this whole baby situation and everything, and kind of the danger he throws himself in. She's very worried about him, and it boils down to this really beautiful moment with Alfred. One of Sean Pertwee's greatest scenes in the series here, where he says. He relates Jim and Lee's dilemma with all the Barbara baby drama. He's relating all of that to Lee not sure how this whole new family situation is going to go because she wants to be with Jim, and of course it's like another woman's baby in the fray of things. Like how that it's not even her own kid, and she's lost her own kid. Like how does all that work? And Alfred compares it to how he raised Bruce Wayne. This is a really beautiful scene. They have the dialogue by any chance?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just I believe I can. Yeah. 1 second. 1 second. So Lee's pointing out you know how Jim is okay, so sorry. 1 second. Okay, I think you'll find that he needs you a lot more than he's letting on. I need to hear it from him, Lee says. I never in Lee saying I never thought how this was how my life was going to be. Okay, I'm sorry, I have it right here. I have it right here. Okay. Alfred is saying, I have no interest in being a father myself. I always presumed that I was unfit to be one. And then I found myself one night staring down an alley at this little boy, quite literally shaking with fear. I don't know, it's funny, isn't it? What life throws you. I'm cleanly aware that I'm not Master Bruce's flesh and blood, but it's the moments, the little things, like when he uses a skill I once taught him, or when we laugh at a joke that only he and I share. Those have been some of the most ecstatic moments of my life. Nothing can possibly prepare you for that joy. The hows and the whats, you'll figure that stuff out. What matters is this. You'll be an exquisite mother, and that child, he or she, will be extraordinary.
So this is
Because of you.
right. So this is great. What I love about this is that this to me this summarizes the heart of the series. This is this kind of a scene that summarizes the appeal.
What I
of
love
Gotham.
about Alfred is that he very much is this kind of like grandfatherly figure that is just very in tune with everyone on the series to a certain extent.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of in tune with everyone.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
What I was getting at is, this to me summarizes kind of the warmth and kind of the heart of Gotham, where it's about those little moments that he was talking. It's about kind of think about how many times we've seen in the series, like Bruce and Alfred having these teaching moments where it's Bruce Wayne learning these. Basically, this is the Bruce Wayne side of Gotham that he's referring to. It's half the reason you watch the show. You watch to see these little moments of discovery, like him learning these skills and using them, and the kind of those fist pumping moments of he's on his way, and like those little moments of levity between Alfred and Bruce. Like you watch the show half at least part of the reason you watch the show is for those moments. You seeing Bruce turn into Batman.
Mhm.
The long and short game of it all is that's what it's all about. And again, that's why you tune in and watch the show. And it's something really beautiful about they kind of committed to a really impactful scene where again he's kind of giving a confidence booster to Lee and kind of talking about how much it's meant to him raising Bruce. And again, this is like a really great season 5 kind of ending the series scene. It's a really great moment.
All right. So then Lee goes over to Jim's bedside, and this is what you were talking about, Dragon. I definitely think there's some validity in, Lee saying, like, Jim, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jim? I need you to hear me. Can you feel me? And then we see Jim in the courtroom. And by the way, Dragon, totally my fault because of the technical issues we were having, but we need to set up the guest artist here.
Yes, so folks, now we're at the scene. So Lee called to the stand. We have a scene that's been rendered by the great Nate Productions, or Nathan VA on YouTube. Nate Productions, who's an artist from we know via Just Giggle. The guy does good work, and this is the piece that he's rendered for us for this episode. Last episode we had the ventriloquist piece, and the episode before that we had some stuff with Jeremiah.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll notice, and yes, if you to the scrutinizing eye, you might notice a few things off about this. Maybe a few jumbled letters, maybe a few blocked out letters. But I'd like to think of it like this. It's like Perchance the Dream, where you have like the jumble of letters that are missing pages in the book you can't read in a dream. That's what I like to think it is. I think it's kind of like a little Perchance the Dream homage within
Dragon. I'd love it if that was his actual intention with it.
Let's just say it is. So, but no, what I really love about it is I love how we kind of block out the faces. Again, if you want to look at just to justify.
No, stylistically, I really like it, Dragon. This might be my favorite one that we've had so far.
I have like the ivy greens in the background. Again, the faces blocked.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really layered.
Kind of embodies the dreamlike qualities. It's really neat. And of course, the black and the white and all that stuff. It looks good.
Yeah.
Right. So. Yeah, so again, so Lee's been called to a stand. So Lee now, the correlation being, yes, okay, so Prosecutor Jim says to Lee, he says, Lee Tompkins, you've suffered a broken heart, a broken engagement, loss of a child because of James Gordon. And her response is, again, initially very supportive. She loves him.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. But wouldn't your life be better without Jim Gordon? Like if Jim Gordon were to die, yeah.
This is just where the episode kind of gets really dark. At first Lee is kind of hesitating, and the judge is like, "All right, come on, time is money." And then prosecutor Jim rephrases. He's like, would you, Dr. Lee Tompkins, be better off if Jim Gordon were dead? And what does she say, Dragon?
Again, she takes a moment to reluctantly answer, and I love this is what Jim thinks of Lee here. And again, I think Lee is somewhat. I can't remember if Lee's directly said this in the series. I think she might have at some point, but
I'm 90% sure she has it on at least one occasion.
That's the thing. I could have sworn I've heard this delivered by Lee before, which is probably where I'd like to think it's kind of been filed away in Jim's memory. He's pulling it for this scene. That's what I like to think it is. But regardless, again, it's kind of a true fact. It's kind of the truth that Jim fears, where it's that everything he touches. I'm sorry, but everything he touches dies.
I like how it's like his subconscious apologizing to himself if you use lucid dream logic.
Yeah, you do have a point there. Where again, it's like Jim saying, "I'm sorry, Charlie. You everything you touch dies. I don't have to tell you. You're hearing this from the woman you love, so." I have to tell you, and again, that's the sad truth. Where a lot of again, Gordon is kind of the light. Jim's always been kind of the Charlie Brown of the GCPD. All the bad stuff happens to him. The kite always flies in the tree. It's like it never works out for him. There's always been a lot of bad luck for him, and that's the thing. He's always just all this tragedy, all this trauma, all this stuff that he kind of has to deal with. And you phrase it like that, like everything he touches does die, and we've seen that throughout the series. And we make it even worse too when we see the jury. So the jury is all the
God,
the fiery
this is horrifying,
victims,
Dragon. Jesus,
are all the fiery victims from Haven.
I mean,
Or
this
the
episode goes a notch up to 11 at this point.
It does, and I'm impressed with it for that. I got to be honest. It's it's a
I
gutsy
love
move.
the repeated I think I'm dying. You're right. That is out of comic book storytelling.
Yeah. Of course, you could. Yeah, I'm saying Tom King is the recent example. I think the better example. You could always say Frank Miller. Frank Miller's another kind of historic example. Where,
Tom King is probably the better example than Frank Miller.
well, sure, I'm talking like Dark Knight Returns. You have like the whole like this would be a good death, and of course that comes back, and you always have like. But yeah, sure.
Sure.
Tom King be the. I think Tom King's the proper example. Anyway. Oh yeah, by the way, Winter Ives thinks that she said that sometime in season 3. I wouldn't be surprised if she did that, but I think it might have been in season 4. Like I'm saying, I think if there was like an earned time, because again, she's not at her best season 3. I'd buy instantly that she would say something like that. So you might be right, Winter Ives. When she kind of said the whole everything you touch dies. So you know what? I'm just going to assume Winter Ives is right. Just going to cut out the middle, man. Let's just say he's right.
All right.
Anyway, so of course, yes, now we have this great. I love the delivery. This is just wonderful. I love the delivery by. This is a really trippy dream moment here, like trippy kind of purgatory hallucination moment with Jim here, where prosecutor Jim says, "I think I'm dying," and then the prosecutor's response is, "Isn't it about time?" And he opens his jacket and he reveals like the blood spot, like the bullet wound is getting worse. And again, I just love that. I just love how again he's been kind of hamming it up for the rest of it, but then he just kind of poses him very seriously. Isn't it about time?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is kind of relating to what Lee said to him, which again I'm sure is also kind of coding his psychological state of mind here. Where again, like early in the episode, the whole like you're begging for death, you're begging for sacrifice, but what is your sacrifice for? That's the big question of the episode. What are you sacrificing for? What are you giving up by kind of being this martyr of Gotham? And again, we do have an answer to that by the end of the episode, and I do like that. He's he's kind of really asking himself very straightforward, isn't it about time you die? You've been wanting this for 5 seasons now. Well, you're about to get your wish, whether you directly want it or not. So then the verdict's in, guilty. Guilty verdict's in. Again, that he's delivering the verdict. Like, hey, you know it and I know it. You don't have to hear from the judge. Like we're dropping the theatrics. You're guilty. Haunting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right. Let's see. So then,
oh God, we have this great moment with Zaz. Oh
yeah. So Zaz is giving Jeff the beat cop, giving Officer Jeff a little pep talk and love. Do you have it by any chance?
Yes, I do. Hey Jeff, listen to me. One day you're gonna meet someone who's gonna totally change your life, and that's gonna make you happy, and you deserve it.
Then another officer who's been under Ivy's control just shoots him point blank in the head, and Zaz's response.
Oh, well, I guess not.
So then it says, "Oh, she's here, isn't it? I know she's here." I just love how giddy as a schoolgirl Zaz is. Oh, she's here, isn't it? She's like touching his head and everything. I love how Ivy's kind of playing around with him, teasing him up here. It's just like, you didn't kill. I tell you to do one thing. He says, you're mad. Don't be mad. Like I'll kill him right now. He's right here. Like I'll kill him right now. No. Just keep the cops busy. Gives them like a whole assortment of weapons and guns, which is the last thing on earth you want to give Zaz. By the way, don't give him guns. Don't give him ammunition. God help you if you give him a knife, because then things will get really scared. But we haven't quite done that.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. So then, so basically, Zaz is trying to think if Zaz had a line after that. So, anyway, so it's basically he's freed. So now Zaz is off the chain. He's armed to the teeth. While Ivy's going to deal with Jim Gordon. Meanwhile, let's see, Bruce and Lucius. Now this is a funny scene right here. So this is what I'm talking about with the Ivy effect right here. So Bruce is visiting Lucius at the water treatment plant. Again, they've kind of optimized the whole water filtration thing to like a big kind of water plant. That's kind of what they've elevated it to now. So Lucius has been working around the clock, and the idea is he's been trying to fix the river and the whole water dilemma. So we have an overly happy Bruce, and that's the thing that kills me with how David Mazouz is playing this, because you can tell like right from the get-go, okay, this Bruce Wayne is way too happy here.
So
Lucius, how's it going?
Yeah, Lucius. I wanted to check on your progress, Lucius.
Well, you take us through this scene. Go on.
All right. Well, the toxicity is at point. We'll be at a level clear to go by the government sooner than expected. It's not glamorous work, but we're helping to save thousands of lives. And Bruce is just like, people, ugh. And then Lucius, taken aback, he's just like, I'm sorry, did you just say people, ugh?
People, ugh.
Ugh.
Just okay. I gotta okay. So real cool. We gotta decompress this for a moment here. So people, ugh. People, ugh. It's just you can tell they just had a lot of fun with that. Chris Jock and David was just they had a great time with that line on the day. You can just tell it. Just like
Oh yeah.
Do you rarely get there's some things that just feel wrong and so well do they feel wrong. Whereas Bruce is like Bruce Wayne of all people is like people, ugh. I don't know why. It's just so funny. And Lucius just calling him up, like directly quoting, "What's people? Ugh." I'm sorry. Keep going.
And then Bruce radically changes the topping and it's like, Lucius, what if I told you that I have in my possession the most intoxicating perfume you'll ever smell? Well, I would tell you that's a radical change in subject. Could you go back to the part about the people ugh?
So he sprays Lucius with the perfume, and now Lucius is part of Team Ivy. I like to call it.
Well, why wouldn't you be a part of Team Ivy, Dragon?
I mean, I know. I'm just saying, let's get membership jackets made, man. Let's Team Ivy. Forget the show. Forget Team Iron Man. Let's go to Team Ivy.
For Ivy, anything. She's so great. Oh, I'm sorry. What does Mizzou ask him to do?
Mizzou's asking him to. Ivy has something for you to do. We need to. I forget what the line is precisely, but essentially what they're doing is they're going to wreck the water, wreck the water supply. Destroy the machine so the water stays contaminated. So for Ivy, anything. She is so great. And meanwhile, Barbara, she's toasting a dying Jim Gordon with the gangs at the Sirens. They're having everybody over the Sirens for after parties. Hey guys, that was peace talks gone south. Let's go to the Sirens. Let's have some drinks. I've done this with Bullock hundreds of times. Let's do it here, guys.
God.
So Penguin's questioning her motivation. Like, what are you doing here? I mean, again, I told you you're on the path of getting the baby back here. Why are you? Why go to this extra unneeded lengths to please Gordon? You don't need to do this. And she's saying, look, a submarine's obviously a risky plan, so it's good to have a backup plan. We stay on Gordon's good side, we'll be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So Barbara facilitates the ceasefire. She brings it up again, and of course, like there's what if we just shoot you and take all your booze? Well, then you wouldn't have the antidote. Essentially, is that she poisoned all the drinks, and one guy, and I'm convinced they stole this from the Flash. By the way, I'm convinced because the episode we talked about for April Fool's Day, my favorite,
right,
my all-time favorite episode of the Flash CW show, the Tricksters episode. Mark Hamill, apropos enough, as the Trickster, he poisoned all the champagne. He poisoned the champagne, and one guy came in. He had two glasses. Therefore, he's the example to set everybody else with. And therefore, she kind of pulled that with this guy. He says, "You had two shots, and it should be taking effect right about." And of course, he foams at the mouth and he keels over. So they all have 48 hours to kind of play it safe, all nicey nice, and then send all their guns to Barbara to kind of negotiate a ceasefire. And it's a good plan. You gotta be honest. It's a plan that only Barbara would come up with, but it's a plan all the same.
It's a very blunt and effective strategy.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing. Like,
you're going to die if you don't do this. Point blank.
If it were Lee, and again, we saw Lee pull something like this last season, where again, she's kind of like poisoning somebody, but really it was a bluff of a poisoning. Where again, here's the same thing. Where we don't have to. We could just bluff them, Barbara. You do know that, right? She says, I know. We'll kill them anyway. Then there'll be less competition. So it's got to be your logic. So then Penguin's like kind of off to the side. He's like, Jim will be so pleased. He'll be so pleased.
But not as pleased as Ivy.
Not as pleased as Ivy. And of course, her retort is, keep your enemies closer, right, Pengy?
I love that callback.
Yep. It is a great callback. So Lucius is resetting the controls to the basically he essentially what he's doing is Lucius is resetting the controls to re repollute the re sorry to redistribute the toxic chemicals into the river. The idea is they've been pulling out the toxic chemicals, and still it's a long involved process, which means those chemicals are being held somewhere. So you're saying let's re-release the chemicals into the water. Let's poison even worse. And then let's render this facility inoperable. That's they're going to dismantle the facilities. That's the plan. That's what Lucius has like a countdown kind of initiated with right now. So I do love this, and this kind of occurred to me in the moment. I feel kind of stupid that I didn't put this together, but hey, Poison Ivy, with a poisoning plot of her own, poisoning the water.
Sure.
Oh, Winter Ives is a great suggestion for the Team Ivy thing we were talking about. On the back of the jackets, have this written: "Ivy's great," and then a really cheesy photo with like a heart next to it. It's basically Ivy's great, like with a big green.
Yes, I totally concur on that.
You're saying you're right. Like Ivy's great, like leaves and vines and stuff, and you have like a green heart or something. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's see. So they spot Selena entering, and Bruce is going to go deal with her. So they see her on the closed circuit TV. So Bruce is going to deal with Selena.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, so after that.
Oh God! Then I believe the next scene is Zaz just straight up shooting up the GCPD, right?
Yes. Bullock's preparing let's take down Ivy. Then enters Zaz, just shooting up the place. He's going on about him. Sorry, unless you want to really get into the nitty gritty of the dialogue, it's just it's
no. We can kind of yada yada through this one.
Yeah, basically, Zaz he's just all these head over heels for Ivy. She freed me and gave me another chance. If that's not true love, I don't know what is.
God, I love how irrational the whole thing is.
Yep. So and then here's the thing. I love this. This cracks me. I love how Zaz is so head over heels as a schoolboy. He accidentally gives away what her plan is. I probably should have told you guys that. Oh well. He's basically the whole Bruce Wayne plan, the whole water supply and all that.
Well, I've got more guns anyways.
All right. So Alfred hears the commotion and he goes to help, leaving Lee alone. I love this.
Can I just say one detail?
Yeah.
I effing love. I love how Alfred is straight up apologetic for having to leave Lee alone.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. For some reason, that's Alfred Pennyworth in a nutshell. Like, even when he's got to go kick ass and take names, and there's a really heavy situation, he doesn't want to leave a woman who could really use his company right now.
Well, that Alfred Pennyworth, he's a gentleman.
I love that. I love that, man. It's that to me was like the Alfred equivalent of Bruce Wayne grabbing his coat. It's just like a quick little thing that happens and you barely notice it, but it adds to the character.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Also, a little thing it's always kind of fun to remember that in the comics, Alfred and Leslie Tompkins kind of had a thing, and in Gotham they kind of teased it for like that one episode. We never did.
One episode, yes, and it never went anywhere.
Nope. It's a little kind of fun bit of history retroactively with the two of them. Just kind of consider, oh yeah, Alfred did have a thing for Lee. Oh, all right. So, let's see, getting back to things here. Oh, here's the thing. I love the correlation. Again, like all the chaos and hex breaking loose of the GCP all the Zaz gunfire equates to thunder in Jim's head right now. Because he's in a cell and you hear like all this thunder and lightning and stuff. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Thunder comes later. I'm jumped ahead there, but no, we have all this commotion going on, and of course the commotion in the GCPD in the main room of the GCP with Bullock is what he's hearing in the morgue, is what he's hearing in the ME's office.
Mm-hmm.
And probably Bullock shouting, and of course, it's all like kind of the gunfire and chaos going on in the main floor of the GCP, which is kind of what we see here, where it's not exactly a shootout going on. There's something much, much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jim's party wake going on. So Jim's having kind of a very festive funeral going on here. So
Alfred
Jim's in a
hell of a Mai Tai.
I knew you were gonna love that line.
Of course, I love that line. Of course.
So you have Party Bullock and like
Tiki Mug Dragon.
Yep, we have Party Bullock just saying, "Oh man, Alvarez makes a mean Mai Tai." And just the guys love this. I love just kind of Jim in the cell is kind of like the just gonna ask.
By the way, should I switch over again?
If you want, you don't have to.
I mean, are we gonna use it again?
Oh, I mean the trial's over, so I mean it's just a cool image. So
Okay,
anyway.
alrighty.
So let's see. So what was I getting at? Um, oh yes. So I love the red lighting on Jim. By the way, kind of the red lighting that kind of follows him. So Jim is in this little cell. That it's kind of really red, warm, kind of festive lighting. Again, implying that he's going to die, which is not good. Jim's asking, "What's going on here?" He says, "Oh, it's your wake." And we see we hear here he's a jolly good fellow, and as we kind of go around and see all the oh god, this is very. I think this might. There's so many great shots in this episode. It's really hard to say which one's the best, but this shot really takes the cake. This is a really good shot here, where they have this tremendously well shot kind of light and shadow thing going here. Like there are these moving lights going on. It's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like it's like if you squinted in a dark room and you have kind of the lights kind of dancing around the room, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
It's really heady lighting effect we have here because again, also we couldn't get all the actors, therefore we have to obscure them with with light and kind of a little trickery here. So again, this great kind of dark and kind of murky kind of setting with all these kind of lights that give you an idea of like it's kind of a Where's Waldo of characters where we kind of explore all the cameos here. We have Riddler and Penguin on pianos as Enigma singing for "He's a jolly good fellow." You see the Scarecrow, at least the silhouette of the Scarecrow, and this one's my favorite. We have Catherine, who led the Court of Owls. She's there.
Yes, yes, I knew that you'd like Catherine. That
Yep.
was cool. Of course, you probably already mentioned this, but I love Professor Pig being there.
Yep, we have Professor Pig in there. And again, Tiki, this season's been doing this left and right. Again, it's kind of a 60s Batman effect where, again, it's a cost effective move. But I got to tell you, out of all the cost effective moves, this was probably the best looking out of all of them.
Mhm.
Again, they couldn't get all the actors. Like they couldn't get Michael Cerveris, or scheduling wise, I suppose. Couldn't get Catherine. Couldn't get everybody. But hey, it looks great. I'm sold. Okay, let's see. So, of course, but I'm not dead. No, I love how, I don't know why, Donald Logue, I love how he's playing Dream Bullock here. He's just playing Dream Bullock as this sort of, again, it's kind of this object, almost like an antibody in the brain, if you will. Just kind of like a guy saying, no, you're not dead, just communicating, you're physically not dead yet. But of course, then we have like kind of a fun Bullock line of, be a bummer, to have the wake after you die, don't you think? It's kind of a great illogical line. It's just wonderful.
Like an logical line where the characters in the dream logic are kind of like ruminating their own existence to a certain extent.
To an extent, yeah. So, so you have, and Jim has. I love that Jim is still entrusting. Again, he's talking to his confidant. Like the only feeling of security he has in this nightmare that he's enduring right now is Bullock, and I love how he's kind of confessing to again his best friend here that he's telling him like the insecurity that he has. And again, this is getting Jim to the ultimate realization, the ultimate arc of the story here, where he's saying, "How can I protect Jim?" Sorry, Jim's saying to Bullock, "How do I protect if I'm dead? How do I protect the child when everything around me dies? Like, how can I protect?" Again, he's asking the big question before it's about like before it's about like I'm going to die, help me. He's asking like, if I were to return to living, how am I going to protect the child when everything around me dies? It's the big question. There's no real answer to. And Bullock walks away and he disappears. Really creepy. Pretty creepy.
Oh, yeah.
So then we have dead Will Thomas. So, the kid from all the way back, I guess, well, again, died.
This was disturbing to me, man.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty much he looks all kind of looks all kind of burned and kind of caught in the rubble from Haven. So again, there was some question.
Yeah.
I remember there was some question that like, is Will Thomas really dead? Is like a double crosser? Is he working for Bane? I think at this point we know no, that kid was dead. Remember we had the heartfelt bit where the sad bit where Jim gave him his badge and they recovered the badge, but not the kid. And Tiki, what's so great is that retroactively with this whole baby subplot and kind of the cool connecting of the dots is we're showing that Gordon would have some trepidation about raising a kid, and of course, with the death of that child, not only the whole death of the child that he and Lee had, she lost the baby. We kind of have in a literal sense where Jim's just kind of worried about like if everything I touch dies, it's going to end up just like that Will Thomas kid who I promised I'd keep him safe. That's more it's the bigger fear that he has. So
Uh,
So let's see. So basically, Will Thomas appears, and and he tells Jim, like, I trusted you. You know, I trusted you. And then Jim's response is, I did my best. You know, of course, the promise he promised no one would ever hurt me. He promised I'd be okay. He says, I did my best. Well, it's never good enough. Your best is never good enough. That's a sad, you know, it's the sad sack Gordon quality. Like, man, this guy just can't win. It's like, poor Jim Gordon. You know. And again, the secret answer. And again, the secret answer to the episode is that he needs a Batman. You know, it's
oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I think the broader implication, like the big importance of Will Thomas, and I think the bigger lesson that Gordon walks out of all of this with, and I could be reading into this. I think that the bigger lesson that he gets from this whole hallucination is that again, you're going to need help to usher, to kind of protect things. Again, hence the Batman. But I think the bigger question is, you here's what you're fighting for. You're fighting for hope in Gotham for the next generation, for the kids that you're hopefully again in your own children. You're going to make a better Gotham. Gotham for the people that are living in it now is that there's no winning that. Gotham is a place, and the freaks have entered Gotham. There's no going back. What you're fighting for is normalcy in the future, for a safer Gotham for the next generation, which again you kind of do through the kid, which again is kind of an idea, I guess, a little bit from year one. So it's all relative. Okay. So after this bummer of a scene, Jim's flatlining. He's not doing so good, and means Lee needs to get the adrenaline.
Yeah, the rule of thumb in this episode, writing wise, is just like, okay, we have a really intense, dramatic episode. Let's go with an Ivy moment to even it out.
So Lee goes for the adrenaline. Ivy enters and says, "Oh, I guess Az did his job after all." And of course, he sees Lee, and Lee. I gotta admit, Lee armed with a scalpel, maybe not her best move. You know, just
Yeah,
Ivy comes in, scalpel. I mean, she can do some damage. I don't put it beyond her. She can do some damage, but still, scalpel, poison ivy. I don't know.
Anyway. I was expecting her to inject herself with the adrenaline, then just kind of like take her out like bad wild style.
Well, she's not Hit Girl, Tiki.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, let's see. Okay, so Ivy's saying, like, okay, well, I guess I get to kill you then.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Bullock has this great line. We have some great kind of fourth wall, like kind of meta lines in this episode here, where Bullock's saying, like, I am sick and tired of being shot at in my own precinct, which again, for seasons now, this keeps happening. GCPD keeps getting overrun or taken over by people shooting up the place. And of course, you want to be really full circle. The first person to shoot up the GCPD like this was Victor Zsasz. So it's all sort of full circle, folks. It's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
So Alfred kind of joins the phrases, what's going on here? And Bullock says, okay, listen, Bullock gets an idea. Okay, I have an idea, but I need some cover fire. So Bullock's kind of going off to do some stuff. Meanwhile, let's see. I'm just trying not to jump ahead here. Oh, yeah, so Ivy and Lee.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I kind of either I jumped ahead or you jumped ahead, or I don't know. I feel like we're a little bit out of order here. Can you help me out?
No, we're not out of order. I can verify we're not out of order.
Okay, well, let's see. The scene I'm on right now is the Bruce and Selena stuff.
Well, yes, you've jumped ahead, but I mean, like, the next scene's Ivy and Lee, so.
Oh, okay.
Ivy and Lee, Lee's asking, like, why? Jim's never done anything to you. What do you want here? And then Ivy's response again. So I gotta tell you, I like the Ivy writing here. I think Ivy was kind of well characterized because Ivy can be. In the past, Ivy's been a little hit or miss, mostly miss. A lot of miss. But
I didn't think that she was bad this episode, but I didn't necessarily think she was all that great either. I don't know.
Well, sure, but what my point is, I like that she had story relevance here. I like that we didn't just throw in Ivy for Ivy's sake. I like that Ivy, again, she was, well, maybe a little, I think thematically she has ties. Maybe not, it didn't necessarily need to be Ivy, but still having it be Ivy and about kind of the future of Gotham. I think that was the main correlation that kind of justified her. So I thought that was kind of, I think it worked, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So in saying that, so here's the point. So Ivy's response is, I want Gotham to be born anew. I want Gotham to be born born anew, and reunification means the return of filth, pollution, and death. I mean, this is where the whole Ivy thing's really kind of justifying herself for me right here, which is basically the whole life death equation here, which is saying the whole like everything Jim touches dies, and then we have kind of the correlation here where people kill the plant life, and it's kind of the lost cause debate with Gotham as a city, just as the concept of Gotham cities, the idea of like how much more bad stuff is going to happen to Gotham before it's a lost cause, and No Man's Land got to the heart of that story where it's like when does Gotham cease to be like a functioning city? Like, why would people go to Gotham? Of course, Scott Snyder's also kind of gotten into this sort of stuff, like there's the make or break quality of the city, all that stuff. So yeah, and the idea is like I promise life. The people promise death in this city. So this does get kind of to the heart of what Jim's kind of metaphorically kind of fighting for in his own hallucination versus what Ivy's kind of literalizing in kind of an absurdly interesting way, I guess.
Mm.
All right, so then Lee's she apologizes and she just shoots Ivy in the side. Just shoots Ivy in the side. Ivy in retaliation. Oh, that hurts, but not as much as this does. She smashes the adrenaline, which means Gordon's a goner, and no, and Ivy flees, and that's how that goes.
All right, so I'm sorry. Now are we on the Selena stuff?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got a little bit ahead. Let me set it up. Let me go back and I'll get you some of the dialogue.
Right, so we have Bruce and Selena facing off, and again, this whole like Bruce under the control of Ivy facing off against Catwoman. Essentially, that's from Long Halloween, one that I believe the Valentine's Day segment of Long Halloween, where Bruce Wayne is been taken control by Poison Ivy, and Catwoman has to go save him literally. So it's really it's kind of it's a neat Long Halloween pull I really like. I love that idea, and what I really love, and that's just like a neat little Easter egg. Hey, it's a little bit like Long Halloween, cool.
Uh-huh.
I love the line that David Mazouz has where he says, "Ivy," just with a smile on his face, like charging towards Selena. It's just this great line, and I love just, delivering the promo and everything for this. Just, Ivy's giving me a purpose because again, the kid's looking for purpose, and he's just so deluded that he thinks he's found purpose before he finds the actual purpose. And again, he's been ruminating upon these things before Ivy took hijacked his mind right now. So again, he's like, Ivy's giving me a purpose. Charging there. We have this really reluctant fight going on here where obviously Selena doesn't want to hurt Bruce. She doesn't want to fight him. And I like that I like in some way, I guess thematically, maybe not thematic. I like that Selena in some sense gets a feeling of, gets a, phrase that. I like that Selena gets a sense of how Bruce feels when she does this sort of thing to him. Every time Bruce wants to help and Selena's just not listening to him, especially in like the last couple episodes, before they were on the same page, when like she was kind of the plant was kind of driving her a little crazy. Oh, the Jeremiah stuff, yeah.
Sure, sure.
And this is all this fighting. It's really well shot. It's a brutal fight too. Like Bruce is kind of like wailing on her. It's like, oh man, it's just really it's really well choreographed. Again, Aaron Richards. Who knew? Tiki, if you told me season one Aaron Richards was this good a director, I wouldn't have believed it.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying, and it's like I don't know. I love how this show has embraced the cast members when it comes to writing and directing. That's one of the it feels more like a communal experience when you get stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So then okay. So then, Selena she gets the advantage. She tells Bruce as basically she has him pinned. She's kind of punching him repeatedly in the face to snap him out of it. Again, she doesn't want to, but she has to. She tells Bruce that she was hurt, but that Bruce was leaving Gotham without her, and it's like you're leaving. Think about the people you are leaving if you leave Gotham. Basically, don't leave me alone. I don't want to. I don't want you to go without me. Of course, and hitting him snaps him out of it. It's like Selena. And this is the bit that really touched. I love Carmen Bacandova's performance here. She apologizes for Bruce, and I just love the emotional rawness of what she's just done. Just the genuineness of her apology. It's a really sweet scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's see. So then Bruce, Bruce runs to tell Lucius, like, Luke. Okay, here's the dialogue. Hit him with the dialogue here. So Bruce. They go to Lucius. They go to stop Lucius.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just I'm sorry, Dragon, you're putting me on the spot here.
All right, so Bruce tells Lucius to stop, and he says like, "Ivy's using you. I sprayed you with a perfume." Ivy's usually, "No, she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't use, she wouldn't do that to me." And then Selena then basically like a lost cause and says, "Okay, I'm sorry, Lucius." And Lucius
Okay,
kicks
I
him.
do remember this moment. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble with the Hulu, but I do remember the moment where Selena just drop kicks Lucius to the face.
Yep.
Sorry, Lucius, it had to be done. You kicked me.
In the face. So Bruce shuts it all down. Okay, it's basically water, water supply saved. The whole water filtration system. We're all good. Meanwhile, Bullock in the bomb suit the Riddler used in a few, I guess, 2 episodes ago
Mm.
or so. He's in the bomb suit, basically the super strong Kevlar reinforced bomb suit that can survive bullets. That's the important part. He can survive bullets. Um, Bullock's in the bomb suit. He takes fire from Zaz, and the Zaz like, oh, what a dummy. And of course, then Bullock gets up and just tackles him. Just tackles him, and he says, oh, that felt good. He removes like, oh man, that felt. He takes Zaz out. Man, that felt good. He get shot and not die. Meanwhile, Lee is begging Jim to come too because again now it's really all on him, and then we hear like yelling at him. We hear the thundering and the correlation. Now we're getting to like kind of the thunder and especially the lightning of what's about to happen to Jim in his hallucinatory state. So Jim is led to an electric chair, which again a much better electric chair by the way than the one we saw in the Riddler be put in.
Right, right.
2 episodes earlier. At least it's a nice electric chair. At least Jim Gordon
Yeah,
would
yeah, it's a
dream.
nice, classy, like Green Mile style electric chair.
Yeah, maybe a little Ted Bundy-esque, but yeah. Anyway, so like no sponges here, man. We're a high class operation. No sponges. Anyway, so he tells him that it's time. He says it's tells him it's time. Jim's strapped in. It's a really haunting image, by the way. Jim Gordon in this chair. So Lee walks in. Here's probably the darkest scene in the whole shebang here.
Oh, Dragon, this legitimately made me like as soon as I saw Lee with the baby, I was just like, I almost don't want to watch this. Like, I don't know. I have a thing with dead babies, man.
Well, oh my god! Oh my! I just put it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just having a moment of epiphany here. My god! How
What?
did I not put it together?
What
This is a huge pull from No Man's Land.
is it?
Yeah, the whole. Oh my goodness! It's a dark version of it, but it's a huge moment from No Man's Land. Okay, so here's in No Man's Land. Well, let me walk you through the moment, then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Oh yeah. So Lee brings Jim his child. Brings him his child. Like, is that?
Dragon, I
Yes.
swear to God, I was on the edge of my seat and sick to my stomach as this was going down. I really was.
And says, "Would you like to hold it?" And Jim's saying, "I don't know." And again, really bluntly. Again, this is the real psychology of Gordon. What's going through his mind, the whole parental issue and everything. He's like, "I don't know that I can."
Mhm.
And she says this moment where she says, "Miranda Background is playing the moment perfectly haunting." She says, "I see," and then just like drops the baby, like it rolls out of her arms, and
Straight up, I mean, it's like, oh,
you
God.
hear a thud. You hear the thud.
Like, that might be one of the most disturbing moments of the whole series, honestly.
So here's what this is in reference to. I can't believe I didn't put it together until this very moment. In No Man's Land, with a huge climax of No Man's Land, with a huge emotional climax of No Man's Land, is that Jim Gordon, he's with Sarah Essen. Of course, in the series of Gotham went a lot differently because Essen was killed off way early in season 2, and there's no romantic thing whatsoever. But the idea is that Gordon remarried to a different woman, to Sarah Essen, who's also a cop at the GCPD. That was the idea. And Sarah, he loves Sarah. And of course, Sarah, she's in The Dark Knight Returns. Sarah Essen was a big deal. So Sarah Essen was like the love of Gordon's life. She's in year one. Like she's been there from the very beginning of Jim Gordon's life. She was the affair. So
Sure.
point being, in No Man's Land, they were officially married, and they were things were going good for them. And the big climax of No Man's Land was that The Joker just kind of like, is the eyes like when things are calm in no man's land, then we introduce the element of chaos, which is the Joker just kind of coming in for a cameo, essentially. He's barely in that story, just kind of shows up at the end and he does something terrible. He kidnaps the infants of Gotham, like it's like a baby hospital or something. Like this whole like kind of like I guess like in the hospital, like the ward with all the babies. He's kind of got them all in one place. Sarah Essen runs into the place, and she draws her gun on the Joker, and Joker is holding a baby, and he says, "Well, you could shoot me, but then the baby's going to fall." And then basically he knows this is really haunting, by the way. Too. He drops the baby, and Sarah Essen leaps. She drops her gun, leaps to catch the baby, and she's crying and she's holding the baby, and Joker points a gun to her head and shoots her point blank, and he doesn't even laugh. There's nothing funny about it. And then he walks out of the hospital, and the GCP are like all gathered outside, including Batman. They're all outside. Gordon and Batman, they're there, and basically Joker just instantly surrenders because the joke's been told. He surrenders. He says, "Okay, I'm done." And of course, Gordon walks in there and sees the horror, like the GCP to go in there. Like Bullock, I think, tells him the horror of what's just happened. And Gordon, he shoots Joker in the kneecaps. Again, this is after killing Joke. This is after Barbara's been put in the wheelchair. And Joker just he's of course he's shot. His knees have been shot at. He's like kneeling on the ground in pain. Says, "Oh God!" And then of course he takes a moment. Then he laughs hysterically and he realizes, "Oh, I get it. Like your daughter. Good one, Commissioner."
God.
Then it's beautiful. One of those beautiful moments in No Man's Land. Gordon and Batman, they had a really they were at each other's. They were at odds at the beginning of the story, and at the end of the story, Gordon tries to walk off because he doesn't want to let the Joker see him like this. Gordon collapses in the Batman's arms, just like in Killing Joke, and he's crying of grief. Batman just kind of being there for his friend when he wasn't there for him at the beginning of the story. It's a big climax of No Man. That's what they're kind of in reference to there. Yeah. Okay, then things get even more haunting. Back to this. So, oh god, so he's strapped in. So basically, like, the baby's been dropped, and Gordon's saying, and she says, "Bye, Jim." And says, "No, wait!" And this is where this.
Oh my god, Dragon! This was just craziness right here.
Again, this is completely crazy. And again, this is the big epiphany that Jim has in itself here. This is where Jim realizes, no, again, this is where it's all put on front street, where again, Jim's having that doubt in his mind, like the fatherhood angle, and kind of the questions like, everything I touch dies. And the answer to his question, the answer to his arc is that, well, bad things are going to happen regardless. You might as well make the effort, because Jim's like having this doubt. In that time it takes for you to have a doubt and kind of let these opportunities pass you by, worse stuff's going to happen. You're doomed either way. The baby, the kid gets dropped because of your indecisiveness. And then, of course, in that moment right after that, the baby is dropped and leaves him alone to die alone. He just shouts again what, like, the first thing that comes to his mind, what he really wants to say, what his realization is. Like, I want to live! It took him that long to realize that he wants it.
Yeah. It was really well timed, and then the trippy, like, kind of like the push back to reality was just pretty insane.
Well, the electric chair goes off. He is electrocuted. It's a kind of a light show too. It feels very, again, this torture is very Killing Joke-esque. Like Gordon's strapped to a chair, like unable to avoid the horrors that he's facing right now. And again, it's from the whole perspective of living while in Gotham being the big rationale he's had. Hence the like, I want to live. I'm going to live while I go up there. Essentially, it's almost like a Wonderful Life realization as well. It's kind of like no, I want to live, as it's too. More like, I guess, Christmas Carol, too. Like, he falls in the fire pit, like, no! So he's shocked back to life. And also, this is really creepy. I caught this on a rewatch. You hear a baby's cry as he's shocked back to life, as the electric...
Oh, no. Don't hear that.
You hear... No, it's the baby... No, Tiki, it's better than what you're thinking of right now. The chair, again, the chair's going off and shocking the crap out of him, which, again, is giving him life in a way. And as he's giving life, he's reborn, and hence the baby's cries. It's a reborn. He's reborn. Get it? Like the baby's...
I get it.
So he wakes up, and he tells Lee that he needs her, and, she's so scared, and it's just, it's okay to be scared. She tells him it's okay to be scared. And he asks her something that is great, kind of like shit. A silhouette of like the two of them, kind of like him asking her something. Of course, I think we know where it's going. And then we get to our final image.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, let me, sorry. Really quick. Ba, 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 ba. Harvey's the, I love how Harvey is just, he's just got no jurisdiction over this whatsoever. It's just like, screw it, I'll be the priest.
Yep. They call themselves. So we have a wedding at the GCPD, which is a lovely idea. And again, this is somewhat borrowed from the Sarah S. and stuff. Now, I can't remember for the life of me if the wedding was in No Man's Land or right before No Man's Land, but the idea is Jim had an unconventional wedding with Sarah Essen, which of course had the dark payoff with No Man's Land. So of course that's where they're going with that. So but yeah, this is really nice. It's a wedding within the GCPD, which of course is the omnipresent home of Jim Gordon. Therefore, again, it's kind of a nice gesture. And again, I don't know what it is. Ben McKenzie just has a really fine-tuned sense of really sweet romantic gestures, because we have a wedding within the GCPD. We have Bruce and Selena's kind of really sweet date earlier on. I think again, Ben McKenzie's got a heart for romance, buddy boy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, a little fun fact. This is what I've been saving here.
I'm seeing it right now. There is a 1 month later time jump.
Oh, okay. Really? It says 1 month later.
Yeah. There's like a little, like, how they do a city transition, and yeah, it says in big bold gold letters 1 month later.
All right, cool. Okay, thanks. Okay, now we know at least a month. We know. Okay, so we know a month goes by, and then whatever extra time beyond that. So then we'll add on to if there is any extra time. We'll see. But yeah. Okay, a month has gone by. So, little fun fact again. This Winter Ives said this earlier, and this correlates to the wedding. So I wanted to wait till we got to the wedding to mention this. Winter Ives says, "Haha! I learned a few days ago that Ben and Morena are married. I had no clue." Kind of funny. In real life, they are married. Therefore, it's kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a sweet gesture on his part. Like, let's see him get married.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the other beautiful thing that came out of Gotham. I'm pretty sure they met on this series, and of course, they kind of ignited their own romance, kind of life imitating art sort of thing. It's kind of nice. All right, so the wedding starts. You have Bruce and Selena. Tiki, it's gonna sound so schmaltzy and so like, oh yeah, I know you're gonna roll your eyes at this, but you know what?
No. The kiss was earned, man.
Yeah, the kiss is earned, but I mean, at the same time, it's the kiss is earned. But here's the cheesy part, all right?
Okay.
The schmaltzy part is that Batman was at Gordon's wedding. I think that's nice. It's just that's kind of nice. He was at the wedding. I don't know. It's like, oh, he and Bruce and Selena, they were at the wedding.
You thinking that's nice, Dragon. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to think is nice.
So, this is what kills me. The fact that the man who will become the boy will become Batman is there saying he seems nervous, assessing his friend Jim Gordon. There saying he seems nervous. Yeah, just kind of breaking it down there. and Selena's having this great. Again, they have great back and forth in the audience. She's saying he should be thrilled. He's marrying a someone smarter and better looking than him. Again, always insulting towards Gordon, but yeah, sure, fair enough. So let's see. So then Bruce is trying to make amends for the whole leaving Gotham kind of chat they were having. But then Lee enters, and she looks great. And it's not like a big. It's No Man's Land. We're going to find a wedding dress in No Man's Land, but she looks good all the same. That's the point. I love it. It's scaled down to No Man. Seriously, if you look at it here, it's scaled down to No Man's Land levels. You can kind of see in the photo here. You have candles on the proscenium part of the Gotham stage. It looks nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Bullock officiates a quick wedding. Says, "I want to make this quick, so we can all get to the bar,
yep, and have some of Alvarez's famous Mai Tais."
Okay, so how does this go? Give him the wedding, man.
Oh shoot. Okay, sorry. I didn't have it pulled up. I thought we were getting yada yada. Sorry. 1 second. You want me to go through the whole sermon, right?
Yeah, at least the Bullock, what Bullock says about him. Like Bullock kind of talks it up a little, yeah.
Okay, give me all right. So when I first met Gordon, he was a pain in the ass. Sorry, a pain in the ass, moralistic rookie detective. Sorry. In the years since, he's evolved into a pain in the ass Moralistic captain. I'd say he's my best friend, but in truth, he's my only friend, besides Babs. Skip that. On to Lee. Lee's always had his back, except for the time when she was infected with the crazy making virus. But that's love. And Dragon, I just really quick, I just love how the whole crowd is like a fucking like sitcom canned laughter. Like, yeah, that's Gotham.
Yeah, season 3, man. Yeah, season 3 had Lee go crazy. We were all there. We saw it.
Like literally, like I have a freeze frame right here of like Bruce and Selena. Like Selena's just like she's delighted by it. Bruce just has a cheeky smile. And then a random guy next to him is just cracking up. Like, yeah, I remember that. I remember when Lee tried to kill Gordon.
I'd like to think it was Alvarez, but yeah, again, that's I love the joke in the early seasons of Gotham. Like the cops of the GCPD, primarily Alvarez, are probably like remarking at the water cooler, saying, "Man, that Jim Gordon guy there's always something going on. It always relates to Jim Gordon." It's like so every time someone's coming, like, "I demand to see Jim Gordon." It's like, man, he's always got something going on. All right. They're saying like these, you two meeting each other was a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get to the I do's, and of course, thanks by the power invested in me by no one, I now pronounce you man and wife. They kiss, and of course, this gets a really sweet bit here where Bruce and Selena, Selena looks to him and says, "What?" Bruce just staring at her in love, and then Selena's just saying, "What?" And they kiss, and it's beautiful. And this is like Tom King again. This is Tom King beautiful here, folks. This is nice.
Yeah, this is earned, man. They earned it.
And so rarely do we have a happy moment in Gotham. It's like kind of a happy Gotham ending for like the first time.
Right.
It's not all like doom and gloom and like for once it's like it's all again it ends on a little bit doom and gloom, but like for the moment it seems like it's gonna end like, oh man, there's a happy moment for you. And then we have like kind of a cocky penguin kind of gloating to Barbara here, says, just saying, "Oh, aren't you happy? You create the ceasefire and to help Jim and his blushing bride, helping newlywed Jim Gordon." Then he tells her, your plan was never going to work. Convincing Jim Gordon you could change is never going to happen. And of course, well, that's why we're getting the heck out of here. And then, of course, then Penguin makes the point here that, he's going to hunt you down to the ends of the earth. And of course, her response is, let him. So she's forgetting the whole, like, basically she wants to take the baby and run, which obviously is going to create kind of a kerfuffle. She's definitely kind of courting some trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
Never easy with Barbara. It's fun, but it's never easy. And that's the episode.
All right. So, yeah. Do you want to dive right into spec?
Yeah, sure. We have a brief promo. I'm just gonna give you the highlights of. So next episode. Okay, so the next episode is I Am Bane, which is, by the way, is a direct Tom King pull. By the way, I Am Bane. He basically did a whole series of stories called I Am This, I Am That, and the third one was I Am Bane. So I mean, I would love to think that's a direct correlation. Of all the things you're gonna call the episode, why not? But it's kind of a line that's had to it. Like every introduce himself, I Am Bane. Anyway, sorry. So the point is, Bane's coming back next episode. If he's not, it's gonna be really weird. So
yeah. If they pull a season 1, like, hey, guess what, guys? We're gonna do like a Selena Kyle / Harvey Dent / Arkham. We're gonna pull one of those and just have Bane not like everyone's gonna talk about Bane, but we're not actually gonna see Bane.
We already did that with Panadora, so let's not do that.
You know what they could do, Dragon? You know what they could do? They could pull a Walking Dead on us and have all of Bane's leaders, like or all of Bane's followers, I mean, like basically have a pact where they're all Bane. So if you ask like just a random lackey of Bane who he is, he'll just say like, I am Bane.
Sure.
Anyways.
So the point is, Bane's coming back. He's talking about like a new world is coming. That's his big line. So a new world is coming, and of course, for anyone who forgot, Eduardo, who was in the comics, is King Snake. Well, in the comics, Eduardo is King Snake, who is the father of Bane. For anyone who wants to argue semantics, let's just not do that here, because I know there's a whole thing with like who's Bane's real father. Let's just say King Snake's Bane's father.
Right.
And the idea is he's proto-Bane. That's the idea. So anyway, he's been fixed up and patched up, and he's been given like kind of like chemicals and stuff. Hugo Strange has basically turned Eduardo Dorrance into Bane, proto-Bane. Barbara this is a crazy image, Tiki. I really wish you would have seen there. You have Barbara in a wheelchair, again, looking really pregnant. So I assume this is the delivery. I'm assuming it's like the 9 months later. So
dear. Oh, no.
So Barbara's in a wheelchair being wheeled by somebody. It looks like Selena, but I can't tell. It's really hard to tell who's behind her. Anyway, so Barbara's in a wheelchair, firing dual pistols like crazy, like shouting, "Ah!" Bang, bang, bang. Pregnant lady in a wheelchair. Bane hurts Alfred really bad. Looks like he's going to hurt Alfred really bad.
Oh, and, no, not Alfred.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. Basically, I think they're homaging the backbreak. That's what it looks like in a quick break.
Oh, jeez.
I gotta tell you, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I mean, that could work. It could work. As I should be washing my mouth out with soap right now, a backbreak in Gotham. What are you, insane? But I don't know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they won me over this season so far. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll see. Okay, Spec, what do you got?
Yeah, I think I don't know if what do you think? Are we going to get Bane like throughout the episode, or is it going to be a build up? Is he going to show up right at the end? Is he going to show up from the top? What do you think?
Well, I think that I think the ship is kind of set sail in the whole. Like, let's introduce Bane at the end of the episode. I think he's going to be there from the very start. That's what I think.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to put the pieces in place moving forward to really link up with that episode 1 cold open. That's one of the big things I'm going to be looking for.
So, also just to mention too, we have a 2-week break coming up with Gotham. So we have 3 episodes left, and we're not going to get to them until 2 weeks from now. So there's that. Unfortunately, I believe folks will talk about it next week, but it will be. So let's see. One thing with Ivy, if we do check in with Ivy, which we don't really need to, but I'm saying, like, primarily if we do like the thing I talked about with Jeremiah, kind of Jeremiah the Joker, like we see the Joker at the very end, like wake up from the coma. Basically, if we do like that final check-in, like maybe we see Zaz with the marks on his body, we see Joker, we do those quick like kind of check-ins in the last moments of the last episode. I think we're going to see Ivy, and the idea is like she was shot, and I'd like to think that she's going to be kind of green, like all planty, which kind of would heal her from that gunshot. That's what I like to think. Like she's going to be full plant lady by the end. So, Anyway, let's see. Because she's pretty much all but green. Basically, she's like a dash of chloroform away from. Sorry, she's a dash of chlorophyll away from being full on poison ivy. It's the splash.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the big theme next episode is going to be shaping. I like the whole a new world is coming, and the whole Ivy trying to change the world, into like a green kind of a green version of Gotham. So I like the shaping the world theme with Gotham. Everyone's trying to have their vision of Gotham. Of course, Batman's going to be the ultimate vision that gets realized, which of course correlates with Jim's vision of it is. So I think next episode is going to take place months later. I think whatever amount of months is going to take us to Barbara delivering the baby. So I think next episode she's going to be delivering the baby. That's my big call.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment given the timeline and the time jump of it all.
Basically, I don't think we're gonna be all the way there, but I think we're gonna be closer and closer. Like episode 11, we're probably gonna be there. That's my guess.
Yeah, because with like episode 11, of course, that's the penultimate episode.
Yes, I think 11 we're gonna be there, if not maybe the day before. Like that's as far as we're gonna go.
I could see that. I could see it being like a dog day afternoon type situation where we know how it's going to go down, or I'm sorry, we know what's going to go down, but we don't know exactly how the pieces line up, and that's what episode 11 is going to be.
Precisely. That's exactly my thoughts on that. And of course, basically, so Barbara delivering the baby leads to like a shootout in the whole, like Jim trying to make sure she doesn't run off with the baby. I think a lot of chaos is going to unfurl next episode. Chaos directed mostly by Bane. And of course, all this chaos going on, like kind of Bane, kind of trying to take over Gotham. The idea is like as Lucius said in the episode, the purifying Gotham's river. Once that happens, reunification will probably happen. And in doing that, they're closer than they thought they would be, which means that's the only thing that makes me think we might not go months in advance. But then again, Lucius is a little vague about it. Says, it doesn't mean that it's going to be done tomorrow. It still means time is going to have to pass, and maybe months go by regardless. I think the moment everything seems like, hey, we're gonna unification's gonna happen, hooray! The moment that's about to happen, yet again on the radio, I think Jim's gonna go a little crazy. I think it's gonna be the one that's gonna drive Jim nuts. Okay, so what's gonna happen is it's about to happen. Then Bane reappears, and of course, Bane makes his grand entrance, and he causes all heck to break loose in Gotham. And then, of course, like, God darn it, it's like not again. I think Jim's legitimately gonna lose. Like, oh no, not again. And let's see. So Bane enters the fray, and I think in this next episode, he's gonna burst on the scene. I think just basically Bane's gonna ruin everyone's season plans. That's what I think is gonna happen next episode. Essentially, I think he's gonna wreck the submarine plan. I think they're gonna, the baby gets born, and basically once the baby's born, the submarine's gonna be ready. And of course, they're gonna try to mount the submarine, and Bane will basically stop them, either commandeer the submarine or sink the submarine, one of the two. And of course, we'll put a damper on Barbara's plans, which explains why Penguin and Riddler are in the cold open to the season. Let's see. I think Alfred's either going to be majorly incapacitated or crippled. Now, I think this is going to lead to. I think the effect of this is going to be Alfred's either going to forever be with a cane, which essentially is Batman Earth 1. Alfred had a cane because he lost a leg. I'm not saying Alfred's going to lose a leg, but I think we're going to have a physical thing that's going to kind of make Alfred a little bit more like kind of classic Butler than kind of the action-heavy Butler he was in the 5 seasons of Gotham. So either he's going to have a cane or he's going to have a back brace. I think he's going to get his back broken. That's what it looks like. And that's all I got. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. I think that's all we had in the comments too. Why don't you hit us with final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties and everything. I was kind of struggling with it throughout. Basically, I was kind of just struggling to get to an exact point in the episode where we were throughout. So I really do feel bad. I feel like I should have given this episode more its due. I just want to acknowledge that, folks. This was kind of it was all on me. It was all on my end, and we got through it the best we could, but I really do feel like this episode is so good. It deserved to be talked about in a better context than that. So, but regardless, final thoughts. I really do think this is one of the best episodes of the season. It sets everything up. Lays a lot of groundwork. Has a lot of fun with some of the wonky dream sequences and a lot of the Ivy stuff. It's got some good Penguin action with Penguin just being the classy observer of everything. It's just a fun time all around.
Tiki, switch back to the other image, by the way. Just want to make sure we get in there.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Good call, my friend.
Okay, so my final thoughts would be this. I think, again, the only thing critically I could say about the episode is there are a few missed opportunities with the courtroom setting in itself and Jim's mind. But that's a very minor quibble. Again, all plays fine. It's I
feel like we could have had more of that.
That's what I'm saying. It's always a double-edged sword when you do that sort of thing. Because again, you could always go further. You could always push it, but then you run into the issue of have you pushed it too far? Again, I think the best example of when they pushed it just far enough was the Bruce Wayne stuff. Bruce Wayne was the perfect kind of example of how far you can push a thing. We gave Jim the mustache. He saw the bats for the first time. We achieved a lot there. And after seeing that, it makes you want a little bit more from this. I think that's the effect. Would you agree at all?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like that episode did hit the sweet spot. It gave us a lot of meat to chew on, but it didn't outstay its welcome at all. And
this, basically, again, it's by comparison, it's a little lacking, but we've been really lucky with the last 2 hallucination episodes. And this is a really good one. Don't get me wrong. I want to make that clear. All 3 of these are winners. I love them all, but it's just basically in terms of how many people we can get within the dreams. That's where they're we kept it limited. But again, it's who's on Jim's mind, which includes himself and Lee, and apparently some random judge.
Sure.
So again, Penguin might have been a little better choice, or Chickless, but Nathaniel Barnes.
Well, Chickless would have been the obvious choice, but the perfect choice.
Right. Nathaniel Barnes, as Winter Ives pointed out earlier. I just want to get that in there as well. Okay, so for me, anyway, so nitpick quibble aside, I think that this episode kind of proves that season 5. And we'll see this because I'm sure episode 12 is going to be awesome. But so far, it looks like the show's this season's adhering to Better Call Saul logic. Episodes 7 and 9 are the best ones because 7 and 9 so far are my favorites. 7 and 9, the first one as well. Of course, the first one being is a really great introduction to the status quo and everything. But 7 and 9 really solid. This is another great hallucination episode. It's a great basically this is the self-aware episode I wish is the classier self-aware episode I wish episode 8 was a little bit more of. Episode 8 was just kind of, it was fun, don't get me wrong.
Episode 8 was just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall, man.
This to me feels like, and I think here's the thing, everyone I heard from was this a little, if I'm not saying they were like, they hated episode 8, but they were just a little let down by episode 8, especially after episode 7. Of course, like big Ace Chemicals episode followed by just kind of random throwing stuff at a wall that we haven't done since the first season. And again, chances are they're doing that on purpose just to have fun with it, which I can't fault them for. By the same token, it's like this feels like a better, more well-written version of what they were kind of going for with episode 8.
Definitely.
And this embodies, as I mentioned, this embodies the soul of Gotham as a series. This episode really did. That's why I really want to talk about this episode. It really captures the soul of what the series is. It's a series about discovery and growth of character, along the journey. You're going along the journey. People are in different places than they started in. Again, the Alfred's speech kind of says it all. Again, just kind of watching, having these little moments, these little inside jokes, having these little these little moments of teaching and kind of the execution of a lesson you've learned and seeing the progression. On the flip side of it with Gordon, you have kind of a character kind of facing kind of their own faults and kind of seeing where they go. There are no, like Jim's not cured of his own insecurities by the end of this episode. He's not. But he has a perspective as well as Bruce. And they both have gained perspective at the end of this episode. They both have kind of settled into kind of their destinies and their past. Like Bruce isn't leaving Gotham anytime soon. And Jim, again, Jim's kind of facing the fact that he has a reason to fight for now, more so than he's ever had before. He's going to fight for family and kind of a family that can live in a safer Gotham.
He's really stepping into his role as the father figure, no matter how unconventional the family dynamic is.
Absolutely. The episode, it's very well directed, it's very well written. I loved it, and I love that episode with Jim Gordon in the title lived up to it as great as it could have been. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's the only episode in the series that has Jim Gordon in the title. There might be one other, but I'm pretty sure this is the only one.
Oh God, I'm pretty sure there's one other, but
there might be one other. My point
welcome back, Jim Gordon.
Yeah. Oh. That was another really good, man. All the episodes were really good. Now I'm thinking about it, because that was the big that was the Flash episode. Murray went up against Flash. Great one. Point being, this episode lived up to all the hype. It didn't go the way I necessarily thought it would, but in a better way than I think. I'm thinking of something else. But my point being that we didn't do like the Two-Face No Man's Land trial verbatim, but I didn't even think we were going to get a trial on this one. But this one, this shows you how great season 5 has been. Tiki, at the start of the season when we had episode titles announced, I was looking forward to this one most. Then Ace Chemical, and of course, like, oh my god! Then of course Ace Chemical was coming up, and I was got so hyped about that. But this one, again, a huge moment for No Man's Land. Again, thematically, kind of reaches what No Man's Land is. It's not a straight adaptation, but it was a lot of fun and an episode that reflected the series well. It's the episode you want to have in kind of your last hurrah season. So again, I can't say enough nice things about the episode. So that does it for us. Thanks to Winter Eyes for joining us in the comments. Anyone else who's watching, and I'll leave you with some parting words of wisdom. Remember, kids. No matter how dark and scary the world may seem right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again.
And Ivy's just the best, isn't she?
I merely supplied the venue. Oi, oi!